Pronto, fellas.
When the pimp's in the crib, ma, drop it like it's hot.
Sikorsky, how's it going?
Fine.
When the pigs try to get at you, park it like it's hot.
Say, I smell bacon. Does anyone else smell bacon?
Yeah, I definitely smell a pork product of some type.
Yeah.
And if a get an attitude, pop it like it's hot.
Yeah, I know what you're doing, Campbell. Bacon, pig, oink, oink, police officer.
But don't try to run up on my ear talking all that raspy. Trying to ask me.
I used to say that to cops when I was your age.
You should think about it. Take a second. Matter of fact, you should take 4B and think before you go look.
We had a tip inside and out.
That new Greek tanning place, Santorini Tan, is doing half off for law enforcement.
Prices, really. Let's do it. It's go time. Wait, what? I'm just goofing. New boot goofing. Oh!
You want to know why we're here?
Why? Is there a fight?
No, there's not a fight yet.
Ouch! What are you guys doing?
Sorry about that, Pedro.
Call the police. I'm being arrested by the police.
Subscribe.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Today is Monday, September 30th, 2024, and Sebastian Rogers has been missing for 218 days today. In today's video, we will be discussing Eric Craddock. Now, when Eric Craddock first was introduced to us, or introduced himself to us, he was Chief Deputy Eric Craddock of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, and he was selected by Sheriff Weatherford, who was at the time sheriff, and he did pass away. But before we dive into that whole relationship and dynamic and how it plays a role in the Sebastian Rogers case, I want to go back to the person that Eric Craddock is. So to begin with, we are going to discuss who Eric Craddock is, and I did a little bit of research on his social media pages, and I would like to present what I have found. Now, this is all, of course, speculation. It is my opinion. I have my own brain that God gave me, and I use my own experiences, my thoughts, my feelings, and the information that I'm getting in factual form from my own two eyes. I always try to present receipts to you for whatever theories or whatever topics we are discussing. And so I'm going to always stick true to that and use my own brain to come up with my own assumptions, opinions, and ultimately conclusions. I also want to bring topics to the table that we can all discuss that I find to be important and or interesting. I always want to encourage all of you to be free thinkers and to do your own research. I'm just one person. That's why building a community and having such a great true crime community is so important for all of these cases. One more thing I want to talk about before we get into Eric Craddock and his history and how he's come to play such a major role in Sebastian's case. I want to say that there is nothing funny about a missing person, especially a missing child, especially someone as wonderful as Sebastian Rogers. And I believe that he deserves so much more than who is involved in his case. And that is why I deemed it necessary to discuss Eric Craddock, because there are a lot of things that I found and that were brought to my attention that I feel the need to discuss with all of you. I have spent the better part of my videos giving the benefit of the doubt to Chief Eric Craddock and ignoring the feelings that I had about him, and maybe I just wanted to believe that he was a good guy. My first impression of Eric Craddock, of course, is a physical one where he is a clean cut guy, definitely has a military background, but when he spoke and the arrogance in his mannerisms and even in his voice showed a lot of immaturity on his part. This was later proven during my research. Eric Craddock is now running for Sumner County Sheriff. He is running unopposed, and he is running with full support of the late Sheriff Sonny Weatherford's family. He has no problem putting himself all over social media and speaking about himself and how he would make a wonderful sheriff, which, by the way, he is the interim sheriff, but he has yet to come out and publicly speak about Sebastian's case, and it has been since April 2nd, 2024. That was the last press conference. He was joined by the TBI that day, and I included the clips in the video. I also included two separate clips from two separate dates where Nick Barris from the local news station there in Tennessee recycled Eric Craddock's statements because he couldn't even get a sit-down meeting with Eric Craddock. Now, Eric Craddock does follow Nick Barris on social media. Nick Barris is the only news reporter that I could find on Eric Craddock's page that he follows. So, what do I think of that? I think it stinks. Why do I think that? Because in the beginning of the case, Nick Barris was the one who broke the flashlight video. And now, when we fast forward to 7 months later, Nick Barris is singing a different tune. Yeah, it smells like corruption to me. On June 23rd, 2013, Eric Craddock writes in a post on Twitter, and I quote, "At oh Mr. Wonka, grape minus the G we all know," and you can see it on the screen, "is such a strong word, period. I prefer snuggle struggle, period." End quote. And he added a underscore Platt, who is, to my knowledge, his then girlfriend or current wife. My initial reaction and response to seeing this filth was to post it on my community wall. So I did post it on my community wall, and I have been waiting for the opportunity to discuss it fully with you. And all I can say is the first thing that popped into my mind when I read this comment: how are victims supposed to feel comfortable going to a person that believes this garbage? Another major concern that I had with this comment is the fact that this is a man who is now trying to run for the sheriff of Sumner County unopposed. And then my brain went to the fact that Sebastian Rogers was SA'd while in the care of Chris and Katie Proudfoot. It always made me wonder, when that information came to light, why law enforcement did not take it seriously. And now I have my answer. And who says that to their wife on a public platform, forum, chat, whatever you want to call it? Like, seriously, that's grimy. So, Eric Craddock, I have a question for you. Who do you think you are? Because it seems like you think that you are some big hot shot, but some of the other comments that you have made about women are very distasteful, just to say the least. So we have women are like bacon. They look good, smell good, taste good, and slowly kill men. And underneath of that, that was on 12/14/13, and it says, I like the one I found on eBay. That's disgusting. Okay, that's really gross. And that comment was 11/29/13. Now I get that you're reposting men's humor, but I have a really good sense of humor. I like to put humor in my videos. Not everybody thinks my videos are funny, but I'm going to tell you right now, that's really nasty. What is said underneath of that? The one you found on eBay? Is that why it took so long for you to get married? But yet you want us to believe that you're some family man that deserves a position in the sheriff's office? Give me a break. You lost the benefit of my doubt with the whole snuggle struggle BS that you pulled, but then I started looking more into you, and I also found this one's real cute here. Don't try to understand women. Women understand women, and they hate each other. Oh, heyo, ba-dum-bum ching. So I guess that means that you don't like women because that's two negative posts about women. This one, 11/19/13. So 2013 was a real bad year for you and women, looks like there, Craddock. Is that still the case? A real woman, a lady, Eric Craddock, is someone who lifts up other ladies and young ladies. The strongest person I have ever known in my life was a woman, and I don't have enough fingers and toes to count how many strong women that I know out there that inspire me every day. I fully support other women, so I don't know what you're talking about. I don't hate other women. I don't hate myself. Seems like you hate women. But the nastiness doesn't stay in 2013. Oh, no, 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 folks. It doesn't stay in 2013. It spills right over into 2014. You know, like a big barrel of toxic green oozy mess. Yeah, here we go. 3/22 of 2014, and Eric Craddock reposts, just cuddling with my favorite, bunch of exclamation points, pillow, dot, 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 69 and a nasty, I don't know, like a scared face. Then a happy winky face. I mean, come on, that's trash. And so what I can gather from this post and others is that Sheriff Craddock likes to cuddle with inanimate objects rather than an actual person. He'd rather buy a woman on eBay than cuddle with an actual woman. And to me, that's a degenerate person. And it also brings me to the conclusion that the grape comment, while it was also lacking an emoji to show that it was a joke of any sort, which is still not funny, but it would have been better if maybe he had been kidding about it. But when you look at these posts, what I can gather from all of this is that he is into power and control, because all of us that know anything about grape, any of us who have been through that before, we know that it has nothing to do with any type of attraction. It doesn't have anything to do with any type of love. It has everything to do with complete power and control over another person. Put simply, they are using another human being to satisfy themselves and get off on having power and control over another human being, and is directly associated to sexual deviance. Does anyone think that this man deserves to be the interim sheriff? Yes, there are people who fully support Eric Craddock, including his wife and many in his community. Eric Craddock even thinks he is the best thing since sliced bread, reposting 8/5/13, plan for tomorrow, wake up, be awesome, go back to sleep. Or how about this one? Just sounds like a real critical ass to me. It says, if you type like this, don't be offended if I throw a dictionary in your face. Wow, well, that really sounds like something a public service officer should be saying. Someone that we're paying our tax dollars to should be making fun of people who don't know how to spell. Okay, that's awesome. Good for you. Go back to sleep. Another one was addressed to his now wife, and this is 8/21/13. Have you ever looked at a person and thought, "Yep, you have somebody locked in your basement"? I mean, haha, that one's kind of funny. Yeah, that one's funny. He's always like reposting and adding his lady in like awkward, weird, creepy posts. So it makes me wonder if he's like teasing her because he knows that she's creeped out by certain people, or that, he works with people at his job that are creepy like that. I mean, obviously he's a cop, so he works with people that are, a questionable character and, possibly criminals and might have people in their basement. But in the same token, it's like, why can't he say anything nice about her ever, or say, "Hey, beautiful, good morning," or just something? I mean, in a public forum, it's just very awkward that he would feel that comfortable to continue to tag her in these very cryptic, in my opinion, posts. And thankfully, on 10/31/13, Eric Craddock did not tag his lady in this post, but he does say repost. There are a few people that I would like to take trick-or-treating on a highway dressed in a deer costume. Begs the question, who is he talking about? There is truth and candor, so was he joking, or who is he talking about? Let me know what you think in the comments below. No telling, so let's move along. Now, it seems as though Eric Craddock has moved over to using Facebook more often now in the present day. So here we are in the present day where Eric Craddock is the senior chief petty officer at the Navy Reserve, and that's still until the present day. Now, for those of you out there who have not heard about Chief Craddock still being an active member of the Navy, if your spidey senses are going off, mine were too when I first saw this. So he is definitely closer connected and more associated with the Proudfoot, and that makes me pause because for a very long time I couldn't understand the disconnect between Seth and the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, mainly because Seth is part of and affiliated with law enforcement. So he's a correctional officer, and in that regard, they back the blue. We hear this all the time, back the blue, back the blue. But are naval and military ties stronger than backing the blue? I don't know. I'm not part of any type of law enforcement or Navy. I do have many family members. My family mostly served in the Navy. However, that doesn't necessarily mean if I ask somebody that is actively serving in the Navy what they thought about the subject, that they would know what the connection would be between Eric Craddock and the Proudfoot. But when I look at this, that's the connection that I'm making, is mainly that they are all Navy. Could this be the reason why Sebastian's home was not treated like a crime scene when that was the last place that he was? And some other little nuances that I found while following Eric Craddock was that he's following multiple real estate agents and insurance agents. And so, with that being said, and Chris Proudfoot's mother being a realtor, I think that there may be a larger connection there as well. And it sure would explain a lot. Another connection that I found was to multiple churches, one being Long Hollow Church. And so I don't know if that has anything to do with the vigil not being held there that was scheduled, or they were trying to set up a vigil there and it fell through. Another strange connection, especially with what we were speaking about earlier with the abuse and the SA, I see that Eric Craddock is still actively following Adventures with Purpose, And for those who don't know, the main proprietor of Adventures with Purpose has been brought into court and has accusations against him from a family member stating that he was making that young woman participate in what Eric was calling, quote, a snuggle struggle, end quote. Just like any other predator, guys like, say, Shitty Diddy Combs, Cuff Daddy, they do get the keys to the city sometimes before they're caught. But always pay attention to when they call what they're doing a fun nickname, or they show how proud of themselves they are about the nasty things they have done to another human being. Just like the snuggle struggle, P. Diddy liked to have called his a freak off. And make no mistake about it, they are proud of themselves. They think they're going to always get away with it, and they will always try to say it was consensual. Of course, I am simply making comparisons, and I am not accusing anyone of any crimes that they have not committed. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, until they're in a court of law and they have been convicted by a jury of their peers or a judge. I'm just sharing what I've learned, what I've observed through my research, and some of the conclusions and opinions that I have based on what I have seen and past experiences of my own. I have learned a lot through therapy. So ultimately, those are the places that I am going and sources to help me to draw my opinion on this issue. I realize that it's been a large elephant in the case because, of course, we do not want to bash law enforcement. We do not want to have to expose any type of corruption at any level because it's bad for the community, it's bad for everyone involved. It brings on a lot of trauma and pain, and I definitely understand that. I understand that I'm talking about real people with real lives, and I respect law enforcement. And the reason why I gave the benefit of the doubt as well is because I truly believe that there is more good than bad in law enforcement. I know we hear so many stories where law enforcement drops the ball or they do something awful in a power position that maybe they never should have even been given that power position. And so, with that same spirit, I have to expose what I have found and what my opinions are. Otherwise, I don't feel like I would be fully covering Sebastian's case because you may be asking yourself, why is she talking about Craddock when he doesn't have much to do with the case other than trying to help? And he is the law enforcement officer that has been appointed. After all, he has been on the case since day one, boots on the ground, looking for Sebastian. That first week, they really hit the areas hard, and we really appreciate law enforcement, and I really appreciate them too. However, I find it very hard to believe that Eric Craddock cares as much as I do, for example, about victims' rights, about women's rights, and that is reflected in his posts. The level of disrespect that is shown to his wife, who he has been with for a very long time, and they recently were married on June 13th, 2022. They have a beautiful family. They really do. And people do change. I noticed that he's been on a marriage 360 following them. And so hopefully he is making strides to be a better man. But I have to speak about this because I wouldn't be doing Sebastian justice. I wouldn't be doing Sumner County justice. And some of the people that I have met from that area or that I speak with on a regular basis online, I can't allow them to not see what I have seen. I observed another example of the level of disrespect Mr. Craddock shows Mrs. Craddock, and the proof is in the Twitter posts versus what she has written about him on Facebook. She fully supports her husband. She wants him to succeed, and she even called him, quote, admirable, end quote. She sees his drive, she sees his passion, she loves this man. And the posts that I see reflecting back on her are nothing but a one-sided relationship that I feel very unfortunate for her, having been there myself. As a matter of fact, I support women who are strong enough to stand for what they believe in. I support women for making their own decisions and choices, and I support women who are trying to do the best they can for their families. I fully support that. What I can't support is a man who's running for sheriff who seems to be putting on a really great facade. He's shaking hands, he's kissing babies, all the while not speaking about the other huge elephant in the room, which is Sebastian. How he can promote himself without tirelessly searching for this young man is beyond me. He has not stepped forward and even said his name in months. Eric Craddock is an educated man. He is not dumb. Even though he has an accent, like a country accent, I know that that's been swirling around online, that just because somebody has an accent, that means that they're dumb. But that's not the case. Accents are funny. They're fun. They're different. I love accents, and I have one. It's something different. It's something unique. It's something about where you came from. And so nobody should be ashamed about that. Just putting that out there. At the end of the day, when we're speaking about Sheriff Craddock, he is not a dumb person. He is not a dumb man. He can apply himself to this case, but it seems like he has his head somewhere else. It seems like he'd rather be out promoting himself than looking for Sebastian. Sonny Weatherford, rest in peace. Thank you so much for your service. I have nothing bad to say. I don't know anything about the late sheriff. I do know that his family loves him and that his family is grieving him, and my prayers and my heart goes out to his family and friends and the entire community. As I said before, Sheriff Craddock does have the support of Sonny Weatherford's family members, his wife, and I have included her post. He has the support of his own family and his wife. Now, Sonny Weatherford did handpick Mr. Craddock for this position, and it seems to me, based on the posts that I've included, that Sonny Weatherford was somewhat of a mentor to Eric Craddock and wanted him to succeed. According to Sheriff Weatherford's wife, he thought very highly of Eric Craddock, and he was really pushing for him to become the next sheriff after he retired, but unfortunately he had an untimely death where he hit his head and he passed away from falling, which does happen with elderly people. But it is a little bit suspicious, especially with the way this case has gone. At any rate, Sheriff Weatherford thought the world of Eric Craddock, and the best example that I can give is from Rocky 5 when Rocky mentors this up and coming boxer, and he just thinks he is awesome. He sees himself in this person, and this person ultimately lets him down and stabs him in the back, which of course this didn't happen unless there's some conspiracy that maybe Eric, had something to do with the fall or his death, but I personally don't think that's the case. What I'm trying to get at is that sometimes in life we will see a young person and we will want to mentor them. We will want to see them succeed. We'll want the best for them. And the person that we choose isn't the right person. Sometimes we can't see what others are seeing. Sometimes we don't know the other side to a person. And so I really think that is more feasible than any type of conspiracy. I honestly believe that Sheriff Weatherford saw the best in this young man. He's an up and coming, sheriff, and he really wanted to endorse and support this young person. And I find that to be very admirable. So many questions still remain in this case, but one I want us all to examine today is, do you think that Eric Craddock has been part of the Polishing Turds campaign? Now, if you haven't watched the other videos in this series, I'll just give you a quick rundown of what I'm talking about. Do you think that Sheriff Craddock has been making Chris and Katie seem like better people than they really are? Or do you think that he's been doing a great job? Or do you have other opinions about the subject? Let me know in the comments. I'll let you know what I think at the end of the video. Let's watch.
I couldn't recall off the top of my head when the last search like this was. Obviously, this one is exponentially more important, being a child who does have autism. I can't imagine what those parents are going through right now.
The Sumner County Chief Deputy who you just heard from there says Sebastian loves water and he loves to hide in small spaces. Sebastian is 5'5", and they say he's likely wearing all black. Now, many people tonight are asking how they can help. The Chief Deputy says as of now there is no public search party, but he does ask anyone who lives in the area to check their Ring doorbell cameras. If they see anything on there, to call Sumner County.
The way the search is being conducted. Now, a search party may come at a later time. What they can do right now is search their Ring doorbell cameras or their Blink cameras or whatever surveillance video they've got, especially if they're in this area. If they see Sebastian, call the Sumner County Emergency Communications Center at 615-451-3838 and let us know.
For some good news.
Mom was at the house. We've interviewed her. She's obviously distraught, as any parent would be. I couldn't imagine what she's going through currently.
Yeah, the fact that Sebastian has autism is causing extra concern in this case.
I've actually been allowed into some neighborhood Facebook pages, and we're following those and communicating with them. And they've got watches going on in their neighborhoods. A lot of people, review your camera footage and see if you get someone that matches Sebastian's description, and we'll come look at it.
Officials say there have been absolutely no signs of foul play and really no signs of Sebastian Rogers at all. No confirmed sightings of him on any surveillance camera or doorbell camera, and first responders haven't found any evidence in the woods or water or even his home, which they say they have searched 10 times. Now, the one thing investigators did say they found were tracks leading away from Sebastian's home, but they say that lead fell up short.
Like I said, we're operating under the assumption that Sebastian walked off. We have no evidence to disprove that.
Law enforcement telling us that the family is cooperating with authorities, and they again are under the assumption that Sebastian walked away from home.
Expecting any moment right now an update on the search for that missing teenager, Sebastian Rogers. Let's listen in live.
Here in a few moments, I'll go through some slides and show you what we've done over the past 4 days of searching. Really wanted to come to the community and ask for your help. We need you to search your properties every day, morning and night. If there's a shed or a crawl space or up under your mobile home or a tarp that's in your yard, check it every morning and check it every night. Look for any details that something has been disturbed. If there's a shirt that was there today that wasn't there yesterday, notify us. You can really help us by searching your own property twice a day. Like I said, we're operating under the assumption that Sebastian walked off, and we really need your help to ensure that he is brought home safely.
Chief, I know you guys had asked for doorbell cam and surveillance camera. Have you guys been able, since Sunday night, Monday morning, been able to actually put eyes on Sebastian? Has any video actually shown him walking?
We have had several clips that have come in. Several of them we've been able to dispel that's not Sebastian on that clip. We are still working every lead that comes in. So as the video comes in, our detectives, we're working really well alongside the TBI and all of our other law enforcement partners in the region to make sure that we're getting on them just as quickly as possible.
But there hasn't been one video that you guys have had that you said that's...
There's not a confirmed sighting of Sebastian on camera.
Gotcha.
Was any of the canines able to pick up on his scent or something that can lead you to maybe a direction where he might have been?
We've done that. We've actually cast the dogs at intersections to see if they take us. And our dogs are scent specific, and we have scent articles from the home. and they have not. We have gotten some tracks away from the home, and we haven't had anything that leads us to Sebastian, obviously.
You mentioned that you've covered about 2,000 miles, correct? What's the word on the amount of volunteers and people helping?
We'll address that later. We still got plenty of, and what you got to understand is span of control and manageability. And I know there's a lot of talk out there. You need to get more people out there, but we've got to do it coordinated, and we've got to be able to monitor and ensure the safety of our searchers. So right now we've got so many public safety assets that we can track and we can communicate with that we are in good shape right now. And we are discussing the possibility of going into volunteers.
We have begun the conversation of coordinating with local volunteer groups. Should we need them, there's a plan in place. What I don't want is to have 1,000 people out in the woods, someone get injured, and now we have to deploy resources to them that should be deployed to get Sebastian home safely. As of right now, I've talked to the FBI, I've talked to world-renowned detectives from the Middle Tennessee area, and every one of them has said we're doing everything that we should be doing. We're doing everything that we can. I'm open to ideas. If someone's got an idea that we're not applying yet, let me know. I'll apply it.
You guys have clocked in and searched so far?
2,000 by foot the first 2 days. We're not tracking hours now. We'll put all that together. We'll do an after action report. But now we're going through the day, preparing this afternoon for tomorrow. We've got a team that's doing that. We've even got the tax assessor's office working with us on additional mapping for streams and creeks that we want to make sure we're covering.
I hate to cut you guys off, but I'm really focused on getting Sebastian home, and we need to get back out and make sure we're doing everything we can. I really appreciate you guys being here and covering the story, and as soon as there's an update, I'll let you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
As the search for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers now enters day 4. At this point, they say Sebastian walked off. The family is cooperating with the investigation.
Now, we do know, despite the 5-day search, investigators say there have been no confirmed sightings of Sebastian on surveillance cameras or doorbell video, and there's been no evidence found in the woods or bodies of water. Now, law enforcement have reiterated that their parents have been fully cooperative and there's no reason to believe any foul play.
The Sumner County Sheriff's Office tells us that a group of local investors invested a minimum of $3,000 toward any information that would help investigators in finding Sebastian Rogers. I now want to bring in EMA Director of Sumner County, Ken Widener. Ken, as we near this week-long search effort, where are you focusing starting today?
Well, we keep expanding. So we've expanded west and we're expanding north. We just keep expanding the search area and we're bringing different teams in. Yesterday we had a group from East Tennessee come in. They're mountainous experts and they do caves, and so we've had any cave that we've marked, we've had them in those caves. The city of Gallatin has done all the storm drains in the area with cameras, so we keep expanding and just throwing everything that we can at it to try to get him located. We're close to 5 miles now. Now the further south you go towards Hendersonville, we get into the city, and we would expect he would be located or seen if he were in the city. And we've gone into the city, sort of in the fringe, in the more not as urban areas of Henderson, but we've been all the way to the lake on the streams that travel to the lake. We've been to the lake. We had 330 on the ground, and then we'll run the numbers later today on how many come in today, and yeah, we run that as the day goes on.
And 43 years in law enforcement, you told me. What does this experience look like in terms of people coming together to help out in this one mission to find Sebastian Rogers?
Well, one thing about Tennessee and the Southeast is we're always going to have people that want to help, and we get calls from across the state for people that want to come in and help us. And you know, the thing that we've got to do is be able to manage that. So we track everybody that's on the ground. The first 2 days we did 2,000 miles of people walking. And we haven't run those numbers for the entire duration of this operation, but yeah, it's great, and to be able to call in specialized groups that do the things that we can't do is really good.
And what keeps you going as you near like this? You're keeping going after this week just to find Sebastian Rogers. How do you keep going, you and your team?
Oh yeah, just the drive to find him. We'll go talk to the parents in a little while, and every morning we sit and talk to them. You know, we want to do everything for them and for Sebastian to get him located.
Also check those cameras, like they said, Sunday to Monday, Sunday afternoon to Monday morning.
Now, 1 week after Sebastian vanished from his Sumner County home, authorities are scaling back the search effort, and they are now calling it an investigation.
Nick Barris shares the latest details, and we also hear for the first time publicly today from the missing teen's mother and stepfather.
The original thinking was that Sebastian Rogers left home on his own, but the fact that he disappeared without a trace now has authorities looking into the very real possibility of foul play. Consider 7 days of intense searching from the ground and air. Hundreds of officers and citizens, bloodhounds, and nothing. No security video of the teen and no trace of Sebastian.
We're used to producing, and this is one of those cases that we haven't been able to produce yet. We're scaling it back a little bit.
What exactly does that mean? Well, sources close to the case confirm authorities are now considering foul play and that this missing teen case could become a criminal investigation. Sebastian's mother and stepfather broke their silence, talking about how he disappeared from their home overnight a week ago Sunday. The two spoke on a YouTube podcast called Missing Tennessee with Duchess.
And when I went to wake him up for school, he wasn't here.
Between the hours of, 12 and 6, he has basically vanished. Walked out of the house, the door was locked, and gone.
He didn't take a phone. None of his shoes are missing.
Authorities have named no suspects and say that to date, the parents have fully cooperated with the investigation. Detectives now will re-interview and vet everyone that had contact with Sebastian, looking for any inconsistencies. And they are asking the public to provide any Ring camera videos, not just from Sunday night when they believe he disappeared, but of anything suspicious of much earlier in the day.
Roger. Hey, good afternoon. I'm Eric Craddock from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, and I'm the Chief Deputy here, joined by Ken Weiner, the Director of Sumner County EMA. Wanted to come to the public and give you guys an update on the search for Sebastian Rogers. Last Monday morning at about 6:30, Sebastian was reported missing from his home. Since then, we've conducted an extensive and exhaustive search around the home, looking for any evidence, any trace of Sebastian. At this time, the decision's been made to scale back on the ground search operations. Let me be clear that this does not diminish our commitment to finding Sebastian. This is simply us transitioning from the ground search to the investigative side. We are still committed to finding Sebastian and bringing him home safe. We have no leads, no details to indicate that Sebastian is not alive. We are going to follow up on every lead. We have a planned response if anyone has a sighting of Sebastian. Our patrol deputies will be out, our investigators will be out. We are still coordinating with law enforcement across the state. We are still consulting with experts. This decision does not come lightly. We have consulted with, and I've deferred to the experts in search and rescue. Every time we've asked, they've said you've done everything you can do. At this time, Director Weiner.
Yeah. So we'll continue to have a command post at the fire station there. We won't man it 24/7, but we will have K9 units in the area. We'll have teams ready to go. The sheriff's office will have deputies on patrol, and if we get any report, we'll respond to that location. We'll send K9 to that location and search teams should we get any information. So we will continue, and any tips we get, we will reactivate to the level we need to respond with.
If there was a resource we thought we could utilize to help locate Sebastian, we've used it. And we will continue to do so based on the leads that come in. The Sheriff's Office continues to urge families to check your properties, to check your cameras. No detail is too small. If you have a detail that you think is important, please call 615-451-3838. Thank you.
Do you have any idea what may have happened here?
I haven't been, I don't know. I mean, I got a phone call and a text message that I received after I got off of work stating that I needed to give the stepfather a call. I called him and he was like, Sebastian's missing, don't be upset or anything, but you need to come to the house. I don't know what happened to him. I haven't seen him in over a month. I've been out here looking for him.
Seth, I mean, what do they think happened? I mean, did he just I mean, could he really have just walked away like that? It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. His shoes were still by the front door. His switch was there. His phone was in the kitchen. It just didn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And I still can't figure it out. I've been looking everywhere, been handing out flyers, been just trying to keep up hope. And I've reached out to United Cajun Nation to sit there and see if they will help me. And they answered my call.
Yeah, one thing I couldn't understand is why they were telling people not to search at one point. I mean, the shift went to the landfill.
They haven't told me anything, and they told people not to search, but I've been searching since that Monday. I can't just sit around and not do anything. I've got to find my son.
Have you talked to Sebastian's mom, stepdad? You mentioned you had that conversation when they said, he's gone missing, but have they been able to give any more information?
I haven't spoken to them for at least 2 weeks. They're not talking to me.
There are reports that they have packed up an RV and left the house that Sebastian disappeared from. Any idea why they would do that?
I have no idea. I have no information. They weren't talking to me, so I was out here trying to find my son.
And you're headed back to Memphis right now. Are you in your RV right now?
I am in my RV. We are not disclosing our current location just because of safety reasons, due to the YouTubers, the Facebookers out there that have sent some very heinous, threatening information and things of that nature, threatening to be outside of our house, all kinds of nasty things. So we're not disclosing our location at this time, unless you're law
Ms.
enforcement.
Proudfoot, is that
you
one of the reasons you left the home?
One of them, yes, ma'am.
Do you feel that they were taking good care of him?
I've got information from podcasts that they were showing that horrify me.
What do you mean? I mean, were they on podcasts or? I'm sorry, I know this is upsetting, but I just want to understand.
They were going on podcasts, and it was like, it's supposed to be about Sebastian. They wanted to talk about themselves. I don't get that. We need to get Sebastian's face out to everybody. Have them looking for Sebastian. This isn't about me. It's not about his mom. It's not about his stepdad. This is about Sebastian. He needs to be found.
Now you're getting it. Shit, you better get yourself a YouTube channel, buddy.
Yeah, I'm going to call it Swanger and Banger and Hookers.
You are not.
Pineappers.
Pineapple.
Oh,
I was going to say pineapples. Yes, that's great.
Well, if you.
Oh, no, y'all don't want to hear the discussions that go on up in there.
y'all
Oh,
are
God,
making
no.
a mess.
That right there, that's a... Yeah, the kids
Sounds
under the
just
age
like
of
Clue if they
21
look-
would not be allowed to hear that.
Have they been searching at all? I mean, I know you're out there right now. Have his mom and stepdad been out there too?
I can't answer that question. I don't know. I haven't seen them. And they've not been where I've been handing out flyers or searching. So I couldn't tell you what they've been doing. It doesn't. It does not make any sense. If he knew he was going to go out walking or anywhere in the yard or whatnot, he would put on socks and shoes. He had a horrible experience as a child with fire ants. He learned. It's always socks and shoes, or at least something on your feet to protect you from what's on the ground.
He has allergies, kick his butt, because he's allergic to grass. So whenever the grass is pollinating, his allergies get really bad for him. As far as any like serious allergies like peanuts or anything like that, no, we haven't found any food allergies. Just being picky about some stuff, but no, he's I outside of grass pollen.
Right.
We really don't know any other allergies.
He's allergic to schoolwork, chores.
Yeah, homework and
All the
chores.
normal
There's
stuff.
a serious aversion there, but um,
He's a
it's
teen that.
wearing deodorant.
Right.
Well, that's something that we'd been really working on because other people had been like, "Is he wearing deodorant, Mom?" And I was like, "I mean, I'm trying." It's a recent development too. I mean, he's gone through a growth spurt, and it was like overnight I blinked and he had like a little mustache grow coming in, and all of a sudden he was starting to smell and his voice is changing and his hair's getting darker, like it's turning darker, which is why like in some pictures it looks brown but it's really kind of blonde. But in his eyebrows, he went from like just these like real light eyebrows to it was like overnight he got big old dark eyebrows. He's really coming into his hormones, and literally I think he grew an inch in a month.
Did his feet grow too?
2 shoe sizes.
Oh
That's
my
why
God.
in the beginning there was all that talk about the shoes, and it was like, how does she know, like how do you know, like well, because he literally just outgrew them all. And we were in the process of replacing them. We started off with, a new pair of shoes and, a new pair of boots. And, we didn't buy sandals yet because it hadn't turned warm yet. And so I told him, I said,
Right.
when the weather gets warm, we'll buy them then because who knows if you're going to grow more in another month. But, I mean, he literally, like, it was like he went to his dad's. And then not even a week later, he's like, Mom, my shoes don't fit. And I was like, but those are new. And he's like, my toes are in the front. And I was like, oh Lord, get in the car. Oh, it's so crazy. So crazy. Like I was not ready for puberty at all.
And I'm the Chief Deputy at the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. I'll be joined today by Susan Nyland, SUSAN-NILAND, of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. She's the PIO. I also have with me Sumner County Emergency Management Director Ken Widener, KenWeidner. You guys ready? All right. Morning. I'm Eric Craddock with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, and we're going to come to you today with an update on the Sebastian Rogers case. Sebastian has been missing since late February. Tip that comes in. As I said before, the investigation remains ongoing. The entire community is deeply saddened by what has occurred. We're all extremely concerned for Sebastian's welfare. I want to encourage the community to stay vigilant, to report anything that they think may be of some significance to the investigation, no matter how minute it may appear to be to you. Please call 1-800-TBI-FIND with any tips, or the Sumner County Emergency Communications Center at 615-451-3838. We understand the anxiety and the concern that this case has caused in the community. We too share the anxiety and concern for Sebastian. I want to reiterate that we are doing everything we can to find Sebastian and bring him home. Despite the passage of time, the commitment to finding Sebastian remains unwavering. I said this when we scaled the search back. Our commitment to finding Sebastian remains. We will continue to investigate every possible lead that comes in. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office wants to express our gratitude to the community and the many individuals who have helped in the search, the many individuals who have called in tips, the many individuals who have printed flyers and kept Sebastian's face in the news. Nothing would make me happier than to wake up tomorrow morning with a tip that cracks this case wide open and we find Sebastian and bring him home. At this time, I'll turn it over to Susan Nyland from the TBI.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for being here. We know how invested everybody is in the search for Sebastian, in finding out what happened to him and bringing him home. And we want to let everybody know he has not been forgotten. Nobody's forgotten about him. Nobody has given up looking for him. At the beginning of this investigation, there was a large land search for him. It was very visible. There were also waterways, lakes, ponds that were searched. There were aerial searches with helicopters and drones and fixed-wing planes. They were done at night. They were done on weekends. They were done during the day. That was very visible, and it was something everybody was able to see. But we want to let you know that even though there is not that high visibility in investigating this case, that we are not done. It's gone back to what could be considered good old-fashioned police work. Interviewing individuals, re-interviewing individuals, checking out leads, rechecking leads, We have been working with other law enforcement agencies who have had, in other jurisdictions, who have perhaps had some complex cases of their own that they have worked on to get tips from them. We have had, this day of technology with everyone having cell phones and doorbells and ring bells and surveillance cameras. That, as you can imagine, has been a bit of a chore to be able to collect all those and then review them. It's important so we know what's out there. We have been reviewing that, reviewing it again. We have had other agencies involved. The FBI has been helpful in that. Secret Service has also been helpful in that. So we are just trying to do whatever we can to advance the investigation. It has not gone to a place where anybody has forgotten about him or is not pursuing this. The parents have been cooperative throughout at the beginning of the investigation. They have pretty much done whatever law enforcement has asked of them. At this point, we don't have any evidence. There is not any kind of an indication that there is a criminal element involved. But we are keeping options open. We don't know what has happened. We don't know where Sebastian is right now, so we are pursuing any and all avenues. We do want to caution there are some social media elements out there who purport to have information that is direct from the investigation. I just want to reiterate that is not the case. Some of the information that is being provided on some of the social media channels is inaccurate, incomplete. Distraction, because a lot of what has been out there in some of the social media channels has been rumors and speculations and theories, and some of that has been advanced and people have caught a hold of it as if it's what's really happening. That has resulted in us getting information that is either, like I said, distracting. It's taking away time and effort from what the agencies need to be doing as far as looking for Sebastian.
I guess what's her name? Bullhorn Betty. I forgot her.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways,
we currently have there's a litigation between Across Motion. She's suing us, and Queen's got a countersuit against her. Let's just say that much.
Okay, so I will be careful in what I am saying. However, I think to me it's very interesting how her dynamics, how like her little spin on things, and kind of like her and JLR were a group at one point. I guess they split apart, but her notoriety and JLR's, I think, came from the Gabby Petito case, if I remember correctly. I may be off.
Yes, that's where that is Betty and JLR. That's where YouTube met Betty and JLR.
Yep.
During Gabby Petito down at Brian Laundrie's home.
So I sit there and I wonder, like, if can she do some actual good without having to do all the things that she's done in the past? I don't know. So I guess I don't know. In a way, you kind of almost, some of these creators should probably go take a few classes in law before they start doing some things.
Well, she knows.
They might be able to know what they're doing. She knows what she's doing in Florida. But
No.
all right, so here's a funny little thing. People can look this up. It's great. Tennessee, a couple years ago, back when there was all this rioting, people stepping in front of the interstates, blocking traffic, there were several states across the country that passed a law. If you're impeding traffic and you get ran over, that's on you. And Tennessee was one of those states that adopted that. And it sucks that that they don't really understand it. Like, because don't go somewhere that you don't know the laws and expect to have all the freedoms you think that you're entitled to or that you think that you get because you made a mistake and went, oops, I was dumb and didn't know something. And well,
I'll keep my responses about this BHB because on this channel I don't like her.
Unfortunately, our hands are really tied. We can't tell you what we really.
No, I don't want you to because one, I don't want to. Litigation is litigation that stays outside of. My thing with Bullhorn Betty is I think she's very quick to jump to an opinion.
Yeah.
But she's never once actually, as far as I know, actually reached out to have a conversation with me. I mean, people send me clips of her, and it's been interesting. But, I wish her the best. I don't wish negative on people. I don't.
We have had so far, as of this morning, 314 tips that have come in through the tip line. It's been mentioned, but I'll say it again. It's 1-800-TBI-FIND. We are also taking tips through email, which is tips to TBI, TBI, at tbi.tn.gov. What's next? We want people, as Chief Deputy said, to continue to remain vigilant, get Sebastian's picture out there, continue to share his picture, his information. Now that it's getting to be nicer, well, not today with the weather, but now that the weather has turned warmer, people may be more inclined to be in their yards. If you go out and see anything that looks different, let us know. Something where perhaps a teenager could have hidden. If you have a large amount of property in the area, or something that has any kind of holes or unstable footing or ledges where a teen could have gone to hide or to play, and you don't feel comfortable checking it out, let us know. We'll get somebody from law enforcement to go out there with you, or to check it out themselves. We just want to make sure that every stone is unturned, that there's no stone left unturned, that we want people to make sure that we are looking everywhere we can. We do want to continue to get the tips, but please make it, don't provide information that you might have seen through social media channels. If you have information about Sebastian, about conversations you might have had with him, things he likes to do, places he likes to go, any people he may have mentioned that are in his life, that could be helpful in finding out maybe what he was interested in.
He's weird. Like when he first got glasses, it was really difficult to transition and to get like accustomed to that. He's been in them for years and years now, so he's used to it. But like hats, he likes hats, but he can't stand wearing them.
Okay.
So he tries, but he only manages to wear them for like a few minutes, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm done. Get it off me."
What is your favorite story of Sebastian?
Oh, bless. My favorite story of him.
Mine's going to be when he comes home and then sees the world, and then the world freaks out and sees him, and then it's going to be it'll be a continuous party. That'll be the best story.
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Top that one.
I don't know that I can top him coming home, dear.
That's right. I'm winning.
And here's the thing, at the end of the day, all of everyone's opinions about us is entirely irrelevant. The only thing that really matters is Sebastian. All the rest be damned. Sebastian needs to come home.
Finally, we want to thank the community. We want to thank the media. You guys have been really good about keeping his name in the public's eye. That's really important. And thank you for your diligence in providing that information out there. And as Chief Deputy said, we also want to thank the community. From the very first day, everybody has really been all in as far as whatever they can do to help in the search, to help pass information on, providing water for the teams that were out conducting the ground searches. So thank you again to everybody. I'm going to pass it back to Eric Craddock.
The weather is rolling in. We've got time for some questions, so yes, ma'am.
I was curious behind, I'm sorry if I missed this, but has there been any indication at this point of foul play or anything of that nature?
There is no evidence to support foul play is involved in the disappearance of Sebastian.
But at this point, you don't rule it out?
We're not ruling anything out.
So 5 weeks, and you guys covered so much ground. Searching, going back, researching, checked out every case of a possible sighting, nothing confirmed. Not a trace of Sebastian anywhere. Nothing found. No footprints, no video, nothing.
Nothing that has taken us to locate Sebastian.
And are there any working theories?
We come up with theories almost daily and try and investigate and make sure that we're doing everything we can to find Sebastian.
Share any of those?
No, sir.
2 questions, if I may. Have you ruled out Sebastian's mom's and stepdad's involvement in this case? And as a follow-up, have you cleared their alibi?
I think the TBI said it best. They've been nothing but cooperative with law enforcement since day one of this investigation. There is no evidence to support foul play on the part of Sebastian's parents.
Is them moving to Memphis interfering at all with your investigation? Is it changing possibly the avenues of communication?
No, sir.
You mentioned when you were asked about recent evidence, we've heard some rumors that seem to have some validity, that there was glasses found within the past few days. Can you confirm that?
There were some glasses found in the past few days.
Have you been able to identify that they were Sebastian's?
We are still investigating.
And on the Cajun Navy, have you found how is that coordination happening? Have you found their work helpful? Are you guys working in unison or separate teams?
The Cajun Navy is operating independently. They have not reached out to us.
Have you found their investigation or their work helpful, or has it been one of the distractions that has been mentioned?
One of the things that I really appreciate they've done is print flyers and keep Sebastian's face out there. It's my hope that one day somebody sees something and calls in and this case breaks wide open and we find Sebastian.
They claim they've received threats. To your knowledge, have they filed any police reports or reports to the Sheriff's Department documenting any of these alleged threats?
No, sir.
Are y'all taking questions?
Fire away. We'll
I
let you
can,
know if
yes,
we-
ma'am.
Go ahead, baby. You got to lag really bad, so you're not hearing us at the same time. But go ahead.
Sorry, I'm sorry about that. So I know, like, you're really on the topic of flyers and whatnot, but are you going to get in?
Are we going to get into the topic of what?
Are we going to explore any more into the topic of Sebastian? I mean, I really haven't even heard his name mentioned.
We've been talking about it this whole time. You ain't been here?
Where have you been? We've had nothing but we've learned about his favorite color, his favorite subject, what he likes to eat, what he likes to drink, what he likes to wear, how he likes to wear his hair. We've heard an immense amount about Sebastian tonight, ma'am.
What about where he is?
Well,
I think he needs to get down. Bye. You just need to go away.
I think
I know
where
that's
is
right.
my son is the point.
I mean,
We're all looking for him.
Duh.
Well,
I'm sorry, Queen. I didn't mean to be.
Well, actually, she honestly, and I'm not bashing her when I say this, but instead of dancing around the subject, she just should have just got straight to the point, just asked the question, "Where's
Right.
Sebastian, Katie?" and just stop dancing around it, get to it. And the answer was real simple. As soon as we know, everybody in this world will know, and law enforcement will definitely be one of the first ones to know. But we appreciate your concern.
Oh, Chris, you are so better than I am.
I'll
Like,
say-
I want to punch
Right.
you right now.
I was
ready to go the fuck off over here.
I was jumping on her right away. I was like, la 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 la.
I was going to sit back and watch Cheesy rip her from limb to limb. So,
Well, I have a better question for her. And then I would address this with anybody that wanted to do that. What evidence do you have that supports your theory that one of the three parents have any idea where our son is, or we had something to do with this? Because if you have something, please bring it to law enforcement. I'm begging you.
I don't understand why people think that I don't say my son's name. Well, I mean, their negativity is not my problem, but for the record, I have said Sebastian's name several times because he's my son and I love him. So there's that. And yes, Bubba is my name for him. But a wise woman told me once, and it's kind of sounds ugly sometimes, but you can't argue with. I'm trying to remember what she said. You can't argue with an idiot because they will drag you to their level and beat you with experience.
Oh, girl.
You get knocked off.
You done said that. Now you better look out.
I didn't call anybody an idiot.
Girl,
It was just a
twist
saying that
it.
someone told me. Not saying I
Well,
don't
you
think
ain't
there's
lying.
not a bunch of ignorance out there, but
It
I
is.
just have
Oh
no
shit! It must be a
interest in
full moon.
engaging in that.
Well, there's also this part too. Some of these folks out there that did all the things that they've done don't have the
People don't even realize who they're supporting.
well. Not only that, they don't have testicle fortitude. They don't have
Testicular fortitude.
no. I like it my way better, and they don't carry a spine to have an adult conversation. All they like to have is level of ignorance in the things that they like to do is fine. That's their choice. But I don't have to get to their level to get my point across. That's just them. Actually, hold on. I have to apologize because with today's society, everybody may identify as something completely different. They may have different things, and so right. So, but everybody does have a spine. So those spineless people out there that don't want to have a conversation, I'm sorry. There we go. I'll address it more like that.
There you go.
God forbid we hurt feelings in this world.
Damn it, now the jellyfish are going to be totally pissed off because now you didn't talk about them.
Oh, yeah. Which ones, the box ones or the blue halos? Because I'm a huge fan of blue halos.
I'm lost.
Jellyfish.
Those spineless things that you have to piss on yourself after they bite you.
That's false. Use vinegar.
There's been an exhaustive search for Sebastian Rogers, but with few updates from authorities in recent weeks, some have wondered, is enough being done?
We're doing everything we can do. Every time a tip comes in, we follow up on it.
Eric Craddock is chief deputy with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and heads up the investigation. He sat down for an exclusive one-on-one to talk about what they do when there are few new leads.
I think in the absence of information, what we'll continue to do is go back over everything we've already done once, put a fresh set of eyes on it.
To that end, Craddock says searchers recently found a pair of glasses, which they are checking to see if they belong to Sebastian. He says the parents continue to fully cooperate.
Any evidence of foul play? We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
I asked about exclusive home security video obtained from the neighborhood the night Sebastian disappeared. You can see two suspicious light sources, which we've circled here, in an area behind the teen's home. Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said,
No evidentiary value? It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
And so it could play a role down the road depending on developments?
We don't know what we don't know. So yes, it could play a role.
So many are, of course, closely following this case. How difficult has it been, all the noise on social media?
Oh, the rumor mill on social media has done nothing to advance this case.
Craddock says investigators continue to work the case daily and deal not with feelings, but facts and evidence.
There's no stone left unturned.
Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
So I did post. My name is Yada. I am part of Katie's Rosenbaum family, a very large family. Yes, I am her biological mom's cousin. And from the beginning when I found out Sebastian was missing, I have been watching this crazy carnival. And it has been so upsetting. Like I said, I've been watching this from the very beginning. And it's interview after interview, the stories kept changing. And I got an email, a private message from a couple of my cousins after a picture was posted, and a lot of things were being said about our family. And I told my family to my dad.
Right.
But then I kept seeing the story change, and my heart just kept sinking every time I heard it. Changing. And I didn't want to believe that there was any capability of that happening. And every time the story changed, my heart would sink. And I was in a lot of Facebook groups, and anytime I would go and chat, I would see these comments, and I would ask, what makes you say that? Or, well, tell me why you're saying that. And anytime I had something different to say, I even had one gentleman, I say gentleman, and I'm going to say that politely because I am not here for any hate, tell me, do not ever come to Hendersonville. Don't ever come to Tennessee. And I asked him, why do you say that? And he's like, trust me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I have some friends on my Facebook now who actually saw that. And I'm like, wow. And what is going on? And at that time I kept catching little snippets of different YouTube creators, and I'm hearing all this hate towards Seth. And then I'm hearing a lot of comments that Chris is making, and I'm really paying attention. I'm taking notes, and
They would have to call the police and report them.
I feel frustrated because I don't know what I'm supposed to do. It's like when I did the show for Pascal, I told him I could do it 9 o'clock at night because by then I'm back here, and I don't want any of my volunteers out there after dark because we got people following them around. I want them to be in the daylight. It's just.
Well, exactly.
My son. And at the same point in time, I'm trying to make sure everybody who helps me doesn't get hurt.
Absolutely.
Where does the search go from here? It's been 5 weeks. There's been no signs. Do you believe he's still alive? And what are you guys going to continue continue working on?
My hope and prayer is that Sebastian is still alive, yes. We're going to continue to work on this investigation and follow up every tip and lead that comes in. Some of this may revert back to us going over some things that we've already done for the 6th, 7th, or 8th time. A fresh set of eyes never hurt anything. We're going to continue to work to find Sebastian.
Have the stories been changing at all? Have you been talking with people, interviewing them for a second time possibly?
There is no evidence to support foul play.
Are there any active current leads that you guys are pursuing?
We have tips called in daily.
Any of those tips seem legitimate enough to expand law enforcement resources?
Regardless of their legitimacy, we're going to follow up on them.
Will there be any other agencies coordinating to help in the search efforts for this case?
I'm certain there will be.
You met with the biological father and mother this past week. Is that at their request, your request? Is that just re-interviewing them again?
That was at the request of law enforcement. It's not uncommon to talk to the family in investigations like this. I've got time for one more question.
Just overall, how has this investigation impacted the morale of your department, especially with all the scrutiny coming online?
Let me put it to you like this. If my kid was missing, this is the team I'd want on. The men and women of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, the FBI partners, the other local agencies, the Secret Service, everyone who's had a hand in this case is doing everything they can to find Sebastian. Morale's high. We are here and we are dedicated. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for keeping Sebastian in the public. Please continue to publicize this photo. Thank you all.
The search for Sebastian Rogers, which is now in its 5th week.
Yeah, more than a month. He went missing February 26th. It's believed he wandered from his home, walked from his home, may have been barefoot, and here we are more than a month later, no sign of the 15-year-old with autism.
And Michael, I want to go back in time a little bit because you were one of the first reporters who we sent to cover this story, and you were kind of there during one of these original news briefings, and you asked a very important question of authorities about surveillance video.
This would have been day 3 or day 4 when the investigators came out and briefed us as to where we stood in the investigation, and I asked the deputy chief, you've asked for all this surveillance camera footage, all this doorbell camera footage from across Sumner County, from those specific neighborhoods where he lived. Have you seen anything? Has anybody brought you a photo, a doorbell camera image that shows you Sebastian? And he said that no, they haven't actually been able to put eyes on Sebastian since that night he went missing, which really stood out to me as a reporter because we know everybody nowadays has doorbell cameras. It seems like there's so many of them across the county, surveillance camera footage, and if he was to have walked away from his home, you'd think that somebody would have picked up a trace of him, and that was not the case.
It really is mystifying, and you can kind of pick up on the fact that investigators feel frustrated with the lack of leads or the lack of movement, I guess you could say, in the investigation.
Exactly. It's something I sense talking with them. They are frustrated. They've covered 2,000 square miles in just a few days since he went missing in February. They've done another search this week. They're bringing in boats. They're bringing in ATVs and search dogs. They've got boots on the ground, walking through woods, checking ponds. And they have what they say is very few clues as to what happened to Sebastian, and it's something I sensed is that they are frustrated, and it's tough for them, it's tough for the public.
And it's interesting to kind of see, they originally decided to scale back their search efforts, right? So they said, okay, we've got people on standby, we're going to respond if we get a lead, we've got boots on the ground that can go immediately, but we're scaling back the search efforts there at the scene.
Yeah.
So that kind of happened. There was a lull almost in activity. And then within, since yesterday and today, we've seen hundreds of people now back in the area around the home where he disappeared from, his family home. So it's just interesting to see, go from this lull, no new leads from what authorities are telling us to all of a sudden, this recanvassing effort that's involving hundreds of experts out there.
Right, some new people that are out there that hopefully can shine some light on some things that they may have missed. It's important to point out that in the few days after Sebastian went missing, in those original press conferences, they said that they were working under the belief that he wandered from his home, that he walked away and that they were out searching for him and it was just a matter of them finding him. That was the original belief. Here we are several weeks later, and I think that has changed because now the TBI and the investigators are saying everything is on the table. Every possibility is on the table. There's no evidence that points to foul play. There's no evidence that rules out foul play. So I think that that has kind of changed a little bit. That belief that he just walked away from his home, sure, that's a possibility, but it may not be exactly what they believe at this time.
Right. So Holly Thompson had an exclusive interview with Sebastian's mother and stepfather, and they talked directly to that point and said, we don't even believe that he simply walked away based on his history. So take a listen to that.
He's not a runner. He's never run away before. I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
Have you seen her behave this way ever in the past?
The fake tears. Yeah. She is what I see is someone on a mission. Get what I want, no matter what. And in my opinion, and that's what I recognize. And I see hate, which is scary. And I don't like that. And I can see it.
I understand people are trying to find an answer. Truly, I got it. I understand that. But
I want an answer more than all of you combined, I promise.
I bet.
it just, I don't know. It's one of those things people will never understand unless they're in the situation. And I don't ever recommend people or wish this on anybody either. I don't.
No. I wouldn't even wish this on sick.
So,
I've seen photos of her that were shared with, from Don and Suzanne and from aunts and uncles of her, just so happy and just super beautiful. And that's not her.
Because I saw some photos of her that Seth had shown me, and wow, what a night and day difference.
That is not her.
Yeah.
But she is not defenseless, and she is not the controlling type. This whole thing is twisted.
So the facade of her, there's a lot of people that believe that she's kind of this, a battered wife that doesn't speak for herself, is kind of, the impression many people have expressed.
I'm not believing that. She is a strong person. Do I believe she has after effects or probably some issues from years ago? Absolutely. Who wouldn't? But I don't think there are issues in the way of, I think there are more issues of temper. I guess the word is manipulative.
Gotcha.
I'll just leave that.
Showing you love, Katie. They said they're showing you some love.
she says thank you. And see, she does speak. She doesn't speak often, but she does.
There's only a certain number of things that really could have happened. Either he walked away willingly and it's just a matter of people finding him. He may have walked away willingly and somebody took him. Somebody may have done something to him. I mean, there's only a certain number of theories at this point that could explain where Sebastian could have gone.
Earlier this week, it seemed like a little nugget was dropped by investigators that could potentially lead us somewhere of value. And they had mentioned during a news conference the other day that a pair of glasses had been found during the search for Sebastian. They have since come out and said the glasses that we found do not belong to Sebastian. This is off the table as a piece of evidence or a clue in the case, for that matter. And we have also heard from the parents who went on national television, the stepfather and mother, and they have actually left their home because the stepfather has a job in Memphis. So they've left their home there in Sumner County to be there in Memphis for work. And there was some criticism for that decision to kind of leave while the search is happening around their house.
Yeah, they had said in that interview with Nancy Grace that it was for the stepfather's work. You know, she asked them why, and the mother had said that she wanted to be there with her husband for his work. They have since, according to investigators, cooperated fully with anything that the investigators have wanted. Anything the sheriff's office has asked of them, they said that they have done. So yes, they've received some criticism for leaving, but as far as from what investigators have told us, they've done everything that they've been asked to do.
And I have a very, very large family. Who
Express
usually
how when people hear how large your family is, tell us about how large your family is.
we are over 120, just on the Rosenbaum side. When my grandmother died, my granny, and I'm the only one named after her, there was something like 49 grandchildren, 39 great grandchildren, 30 some great grandchildren, and it's been growing ever since. So we are over 100 strong.
So this is what she posted on the Justice for Sebastian Facebook group. It says, "This will be my last post, and I hope everyone reading this will understand why. Since the beginning, I struggled with the thought that a member of my very own family could ever do something as heinous as getting rid of their child. Like every single YouTuber was saying. Then I watched this interview. Sorry, it's a little blurry. And became a skeptic. Then the second interview and felt sick. The third interview, all doubt was gone. I had held hope, maybe an accident. Then she left town saying he could be anywhere now. Blood relative only holds so much hope and faith, and I couldn't pray this feeling away. Months later, so many lies, YouTube creators flipping the script as if they're threatened. No way, I thought. They never wanted a single vigil. They never went to a single vigil, couldn't find time for searches, lied on a Sumner County custody position, fully cleared by LE and in no danger or threat. She seemed to love her summer with someone else's child, forgetting her own. Now, anyone who's steadfast in finding Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is met with threats, fake profile harassment, and legal action, gag orders, First Amendment rights stripped. Every day I truly feel like I wanted to apologize, but every day I wanted to scream at every state and federal representative for the state of Tennessee and ask them, can you not see what's happening in this county? What mother steals her missing child's name out of the mouth of people who want him found? Why is nothing being done about the threats to the people searching? Then I want to ask my extended family, why are you all so quiet? Do you think this is okay? I don't. If you did nothing wrong, prove us wrong. Let people search without fear, hang flyers without getting police called on them, and show his name and picture. Stop spending your time and money in court on lawyers silencing people over lies. Let people help bring him home. Otherwise, tell us what happened."
I cried for days before I wrote that. Yeah. And even though they were doxing me, my family is normally not quiet. So I'm actually surprised I haven't been getting a lot of response from them. You know, I have seen posts on other pages, questioning who I am. Trust me, I am who I am. I am who I say I am. I have receipts. I have not seen her since her grandfather, my Uncle Don, died. And that was in 2015. And I did get to meet Sweet Sebastian then. That was her favorite grandfather. When she was born, she was not around the family. Her mother was married in West Virginia, and she did not come to our side of the family until she was like 8 or 9-ish. Gosh, her grandma and grandfather, they doted over her.
Very protective of her as well, too.
Yes. She was a very coddled person. And everybody in the family, you know, anytime we saw my Uncle Don and Aunt Suzanne, how's Katie? How's Katie? Because, you know, she wasn't with them long. She went to live with her dad. And I know everybody says her Aunt Penny, but it was in between her dad and her Aunt Penny, David Payne and her Aunt Penny, but mostly with her dad, David. And we would always ask, you know, how's Katie? How's Katie? Oh, she's doing great. Oh, she's doing great. And, you know, when she graduated, I had lived in North Carolina next to her, you know, and was and still am very close to her aunt and uncle there. I remember my Uncle Don and Aunt Suzanne came in town to visit, and it was right when Katie graduated, and she was going to culinary school, and she was a chef at a really nice restaurant at the Virginia Beach oceanfront. And she's doing great, but that was a really hard time in her life. There was a lot going on at that time when she was 17, before she turned 18. And it had nothing to do with Seth.
Did you ever know about Seth?
No, she had a boyfriend that wasn't Seth.
Did you ever know about Chris or ever meet Chris?
No. After she moved away, you know, she had left, and, you know, she had Sebastian when she was 19.
Right.
But they were married by then. And
Closer to 20, right?
yeah, closer to 20. But, you know, and Seth got permission from my Uncle Don to marry her.
Gotcha.
And I will tell you, my Uncle Don is a very religious, honorable man. I don't know exactly how it happened, but the fact that he did it, and let me put it this way. The fact that my Uncle Don gave his permission, I will tell you, means a lot.
Gotcha.
Because of my Uncle Don's very strong faith in his religion and his love of God, he would not have given just any Joe Schmo permission to marry Katie. Katie was very much, I want to say, his pride and joy.
They also face some criticism just from people on social media saying, why did it take you so long to say something publicly?
No family called us. No one in the family called us. And she just mentioned it. I'm like, who? And then she sent it in to my mom, and I told her, Dan must have posted something. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, nobody told us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started researching it. And I was like, oh, why did nobody say anything? Why is this so private?
Right.
No, we were not. It was not. And like I said, normally when something happens in this family, you know, somebody has their home phone in one hand and their cell phone in the other. And it's like a game of, what is that pillow talk or whatever, where it's like going through the whole chain.
Mm-hmm.
No, phones didn't ring.
When did you learn about it from the aunt? Was it days, weeks, months?
It was about a month. It was after the first couple of interviews, and I had to go back and watch them because I had been chatting with her. It was probably mid-March.
Mm-hmm.
No, late March. Me possibly taking a trip down there. It was late March, yeah.
So a whole half of the family was completely in the dark about a missing relative for well over a month to well over a month.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know how the aunt heard about it? Was it through another family member, or did they just
she's
learn
close.
about it?
She's the one that's very close to her. No, I think she knew the whole time, but it wasn't advertised.
Got it.
And in the exclusive interview that they did with Holly Thompson, they said, please don't judge us. You have no idea what we've been going through. How are you coping?
We're on a constant roller coaster ride of helpless and hopeless and many other emotions all in one, and it's a never-ending roller coaster. It doesn't stop. It won't stop until he walks through the door.
And just a few days ago, you spoke with Sebastian's biological father. So we just heard from his stepdad and his mother, But you actually did an interview with his
Seth Rogers
dad, yeah, and it was such a profound interview and so gut wrenching. Walk us through how that interview came to be, and then we'll play a little bit of it.
This actually came out of, this was last Monday, and the United Cajun Navy had come in. They'd been searching for Riley Strain in downtown Nashville and were here. And so after the resolution to Riley's case, they moved over to Sumner County and said, well, we'll help search for Sebastian. And we had arranged an interview at the place that they were sort of meeting in their command center. And they had asked Seth Rogers to join, and he came and was more than willing to talk to us for the first time. Was the first time I had a chance to talk to him. He's been out searching himself and was very moved by the attention this case has gotten, and you felt for him, and I know we have a piece of that interview.
Yeah, and what I appreciated about it was, the love with which he described his child. So take a listen.
Every day. I have to. Stop looking is to give up hope. And I'm just not into that. He is my heart. If you get to know him, you'll smile all the time. When you see him coming, you'll smile. When you hear his laughter, it's the sun coming through the clouds.
I mean, just to hear him describe his son like that, goodness. Yeah. It's just kind of gets your heart immediately.
Lauren Conlon is joining me. You can find her at Lauren Emily Conlon. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And now this might be for Brian as well. Yesterday, when the dogs hit and everybody's going crazy, YouTubers, internet, TikTokers, and we figure out it's not Sebastian and police are not involved, the TBI is not involved. Did you call the Proudfoots and let them know that this was not Sebastian? Did you tell them ahead of time that you were searching these areas? Did they know what you were doing, or was this specifically just through Seth Rogers?
Yeah, so Seth Rogers is Sebastian's biological father, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so he was there. And as Ms. Grace alluded to earlier, it would not have been typical or possibly even probable that he could have skeletonized after only a few weeks. So I'm not sure about the Proudfoots, but his father definitely did know. I also wanted to echo what Miss Nancy said earlier about the police. One of the reasons we got called in, there was a lot of social media personalities reaching out to us, kind of complaining that they didn't feel like the police were doing enough, but really it's just what Ms. Nancy said. It's that they're not under obligation to give daily or every other day updates. They are doing an investigation. We have been in very close contact with TBI, and I can tell everybody with 100% certainty they are on top of it. They are not letting their foot off the gas at all on the search for Sebastian or trying to find out what happened to him. That's why social media is not necessarily a house. We go in and do search and rescue. You have to trust the process like we do. We trust law enforcement is going to have this wrapped up probably very soon.
Brian, however, I want to make sure that you are not encouraging citizen sleuths to stop looking, because I've had many cases where we put out the warning and they actually spot a missing person. I mean, I only have to point to Gabby Petito, whose remains were found in dispersed camping way out west by a citizen who had heard about the case. So, sometimes their information is wrong, but there is no way in HELL that I would ask them to stop. And I know that's not where you're headed. Hey guys, I don't want to see anything edited. I want to see the whole thing. No edits, no airbrushing, the real deal. But that's just me. I understand you have another question.
Oh, I mean, I guess I didn't quite get the clarity I wanted, in the sense that, did the Proudfoots know that this search was going on with the Cajun Navy? Were they being called? Were you guys being alerted about this? Did you hear from a YouTuber that they found something, that the the search dog started jumping? Or, were you just kind of blind to all of this? Just, over in your corner doing your search?
No, ma'am. So here, to set that record straight and help the United Cajun Navy. So somebody's got a picture out there saying that we were enjoying a dinner when we're actually out there, got flyers at a dinner table because we needed to eat. My wife was on the phone with the Cajun Navy. That's how the Cajun Navy was brought in. And we talked to the president of the United Cajun Navy. He put us in touch with their team that was here locally in Nashville. Then that young lady reached back out to us, gave us some more information. We gave her some more details. Then they said they would start a search, but we also had them get in direct contact with the TBI agent as well as Sumter County's Sheriff's Department. We provided all that information. They reached out to them, got some information. They pushed outside of the areas that had been searched already, conducted a search. Somehow or another, they linked up with the bio father, who supposedly got a tip from somewhere. Whether or not it was credible or not, we don't know. But it led them to searching on federal property without permission, which is where we have been informed at some point that there was allegedly a hit on something, but turned out to be nothing. And they were asked to leave the property immediately or the cops were going to be called because it was trespassing based off of a tip that the bio father received.
Yeah, to Brian Trasher, VP of Cajun Navy, let's clear it up. Isn't it true this is on federal property that had been closed off? It was a hurricane site earlier. It was also, yes, thank you. And it was also near railroad tracks, and some homeless people had been living there, and apparently one of them had died, and we believe that is what the dogs were hitting on. Is that correct?
Yeah, all the above is correct, and we did not gain access to the property. It had already been open when we got there. I'm not sure how entry was gained, but yeah, everything above it that you just said was correct.
Guys, the search for Sebastian goes on.
What is one thing that really stuck out with you? Because you've kind of been in the thick of it, Michael, boots on the ground reporter. You've been there among the search crews using all types of tools to try to find him. What's a moment or an exchange or something someone said that is really going to stick with you?
The attention that this case has gotten from the people who live in that area, who truly went out and were walking along rivers and in woods and checking their sheds as they were asked to do. We even got a chance to speak to some people who have autism or have children who have autism. And if you want to talk about people who have their eyes on this case, it's those folks who know what it's like to raise a child with autism, who know what it's like to have autism. And this case is one that they are thinking about all day, multiple times a day. And for them to get a resolution to this case would mean the world.
And I think it's something that just resonates with all parents, right? Like this is every parent's worst nightmare, and to see this unfolding is just so troublesome. We should mention TBI says they've gotten more than 300 tips. They're really asking people for a couple different things. Only share evidentiary information. So factual information not based in rumor if you're submitting a tip. They want to hear your tips, but they don't want it to be something that you heard on social media. And they're also asking people not to spread misinformation on social media. They say that can bog down their investigation. They got to spend time following up on leads that are typically dead ends. So those are the two big requests there.
Just tired.
Yeah.
Trying to get TBI to answer questions for me. They won't answer questions.
Can I ask, can you say what questions you're trying to get answers to?
Well, the thing with the Speedway, that's been reported so many times, and yet I don't know if they've investigated it or not.
So there was a sighting at the Speedway? I'm not sure about that.
That was the gray truck that JLR was talking about.
Oh, okay, that's the one.
Am I correct, Seth?
I don't know if it's gray or what it is.
Okay.
Dark colored truck, but that was, it was more than 2 weeks ago. Yeah, because I don't want to send them any leads.
Right.
I've already done it because I ain't trying to waste my time or theirs.
Yeah.
I sent the information to TBI. I don't know if they checked on it or not.
You said you're trying to get answers from TBI. Is it that they're not responding to you, or is it that they're giving you the runaround, or what's the frustration you're having with TBI right now? Because I mean, are you not getting routine updates from them, or what's going on?
I get generic responses. It takes
You
a lot of effort for me to not turn around and professionally tell them where to shut.
Do you feel that someone has Sebastian? That someone helped and aided him?
All I have is
Circumstantial.
And
Like
TBI doesn't want to listen to it. Summit County doesn't want to listen to it. Yeah.
really? Out of any vehicles, mysterious vehicles in the area?
I've already given the information to TBI.
Okay.
So
you have.
Because they're not going to respond to me. They're not going to tell me if they checked it out. They're not going to tell me anything. So pretty much I get to take a whole bunch of flyers and take a map and throw a dart at it and find out where I'm going to start next.
I can't even keep up with you anymore, to be honest, because I know that you're like on so many, different YouTubers and Nancy Grace and Court TV and just bringing awareness out there. And you're tired, you're exhausted, but you just want to.
I mean, it took me over a week to actually decide that I was going to do it. Because I don't like people trying to hold stuff over my head. Like I said, 1 in 10 youths go through it. It's horrible. The fact is that 1 in 10 is literally only the statistics for those that say something.
Yeah.
And then when you get people in chat that are trying to shame me for actually stating it, saying it's dirty laundry. It's not dirty laundry. It happened. I'm not going to sit here and let somebody hold something over my head. It happened. It did not happen under my watch. I still feel guilty as shit that it did happen. All right.
Yeah, I noticed that there was a controversy, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of shocked that so many people were like, this didn't need to be aired and stuff like that. Like, because personally, like the poll before this was, yes, you do the same as what you did. And sorry, the wind's coming through your mic there, but most people said yes, that they would do the same.
Yeah, I voted for the poll.
Okay.
Yeah, movie wise, I don't know, because in our house, he was only allowed to watch certain things. He was not allowed, like rated R, out of the question. Certain PG-13 movies, out of the question.
Anything with like strong violence or sexual content is really what we tried to buffer out. But
such good parents.
You kidding me? I'm an evil man. How dare you not let your child watch the violence?
I don't know, I'm the worst person in the world with names.
So you're the worst person with music. Anyways, he is an Eddie Vedder fan. He's a Pearl Jam fan. He likes Meatloaf, Survivor, from like Eye of the Tiger.
That's the one we want to hear about. Like, is that his pump up jam?
At one point, it was. It used to be like his pump up jam. It really was.
How did he? It might have been the radio.
I don't remember where he heard it, but it was a catchy tune, and he caught on to it. But he also, like I said, he liked Eddie Vedder.
He got a great voice.
Yes.
I'm one where, like, when I hear the song, I know the song, but I can't tell you what it is.
Oh yeah.
Sebastian and Chris play name that song in the car. So like on the radio, he'll be like, "Who sings this song?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but I know the words to the song." And Bastion in the background is like, "It's so and so."
Oh, I mean, I'll play. I play all kinds of music from. I mean, go back to Motown to.
He loves Uptown Funk You Up. Uptown Funk You Up.
Oh yeah.
Uptown Funk You Up. Oh yes.
Bruno
Mars.
Mars. Yeah.
He loves that song.
But I mean, I played him one. I was like, Sebastian, try not to laugh when you hear this song. He was like, what? And I played Chuck Berry's My Ding-a-Ling. It was a silver bell on a string. I mean,
I was upset. She lied.
Well, see, you were a child. You probably didn't want to like ruin your mind over it.
It's about a dude playing with his,
But definitely keep.
No, I mean the song. It tells you right in the beginning of the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a little bitty boy, my mom gave me this cute little toy, silver bell hanging on a string. She told me it was my ding-a-ling.
Yep.
Silver
Oh.
bells.
That's like the first chorus or the first verse of the song.
Yep.
I hear Silver Bell and I think Christmas
And then he
time.
gets into it and he gets everybody to all start singing. And he's like, if you're not singing, you must be playing with your own ding-a-ling.
Mm-hmm.
See? No, we always found different types of music for him to get into.
That's
But I
good.
mean, he has a very eclectic taste. I will give him that.
I think your mom's come into our chat. So we really appreciate it, Robin.
One time a couple weeks back, she didn't have nice things to say about Christopher Proudfoot, and to be honest, neither do I. But at the time that your mother had kind of come into chat, Robin, she had said some comments about Christopher Proudfoot. Like basically he's a liar, which he's been shown. Like, look at this. You see the whole polygraph thing? I've taken it. Then on Nancy Grace, he says he's not taken one. Then he says he has one and then he doesn't even take Nancy Grace's. And then he tells somebody else the other day that he has one scheduled. Again, and it's just like, dude, shut up, okay? But anyways.
And there's absolutely nothing to show that we are responsible, foul play, any of that nature. People have asked about interrogations and polygraphs. All this stuff has been done. All of it has
I
been
think
done.
that was one of the questions that I had up next was, have you both taken a polygraph test?
The results are passed.
The results of the polygraph was that you passed. Is that both of you passed, or can you say?
Yes.
Okay. Specifically, Chloe and Mo wanted to know specifically, could you elaborate? Did you take one and also pass? They want to know that you definitely took a polygraph and passed because it got cut off by a different question and they feel like you did not answer that. So I'm just asking one more time. This is the last time, guys. I'm going to revisit this question.
Okay. For the record.
Mo, he said he passed it, according to Amy.
Well, hold on. Somebody asked the question, was a polygraph taken and has it been passed? Yes. I didn't specify who or when. But what I can tell you, everything has been vetted completely. Polygraphs have come back as passed. So I'm confused as in why they're all wondering if myself, my wife, and the biological father took one. When law enforcement agency has come out and told everybody, even in the TBI news link, if you guys hadn't read that, please go out and read that. That's got a lot of great information in it, especially it's probably the most up-to-date information. But they will even tell you at this point in time, they have no reason to speculate foul play, anything on the parents. Everybody's been extremely cooperative of anything and everything they've asked us.
Okay.
Your mother had, not so nice words to say about Christopher Proudfoot. And it didn't take too long, to be honest with you, for the public to see that. No offense. But in the public of opinion, everyone's really, for the most part, is in your corner. And for us, it's a lack to be desired in the public opinion, of course.
The only thing I have to say about that is, when you say that everybody's in my corner, everybody needs to understand I'm fighting with different people. I'm not going to go tit for tat. I'm not going to respond to certain things. All right, this is about Sebastian.
Yep.
Somebody was trying to hold something that happened to Sebastian over my head. Yep. And, when he sat there and was saying, people want to know why I don't want my daughter around your son. And it's like, right. Well, you guys are partly to blame for that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So don't trying to hold something over my head.
Mind you, they kept adding stuff to interviews. Then it was like pulling teeth, actually. Christopher Proudfoot actually spoke the most. It was like Katie's Muppet, in a sense, always talking for her, talking over her, in a sense. But they're the one.
Maybe she should remove her hand out of his ass.
Honestly, just like you're being a voice for Sebastian because you're the father, you want to hear the mother speak. You don't want to hear the stepdad, in a place that's being a question posed to Katie that she would know. And
Go Bulldogs. Katie is there with Chris, but if she wants to speak, she will speak. But
yes, she is.
First of all, Christopher Proudfoot was in Memphis Like, do you absolutely know that? Were you told that by TBI? Because you said that they also
No.
showed. Okay, you don't know that for sure. Okay.
They haven't shared any information with me.
Okay. But they shared with you that it was a garbage truck and not flashlights.
They showed me the video because that one came out from Barrett, and they wanted to show. And those lights were in the top right-hand corner. They were literally on the other side of the road.
No, but that's their version. It's not TBI's version, or right. So the information is only as good as what they're telling us, but that doesn't mean it's factual and true.
Correct.
It's just what they're saying to us. So take it with a grain. Go ahead.
It's their hypothesis.
Correct. I mean, we all know it's strange. A kid. So there's the money that was in the ATM machine that they said they found about a week later in his closet. That was still there untouched, Christopher Proudfoot said. We've heard that, well, no phone, supposedly no shoes, perhaps socks, still weird. What kid is going to run away and not take his backpack, some munchies, like have a little bit of a plan going on here? What, like, and you said that this is not my son. Like, this is something he would not do. So you don't see it, Seth, as him, like, just, you know what, I'm going to put on my little runaway tote and just head on out of here with no shoes, but take a
Doesn't
little
make sense because it's not something I think my son would do.
Which did Sebastian have?
Say it one more time.
How many pairs of shoes did Sebastian have?
Well,
I'm not going to tell you how many shoes he has, but I will say that all of the shoes he has are accounted for.
Did y'all catch Mom?
I didn't quite hear a little bit from me. Did you hear?
Okay, she said that she would not divulge how many pairs of shoes he has, but law enforcement has accounted for every pair of shoes.
I have accounted for all of his shoes.
And he did take his eyeglasses with him. They were not found, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Right. So Sebastian had it's about a little 3-inch. If you think about the little keychain flashlights, that used to find at vendor tables they give out for free, cheapies. It was something that he picked up at one of the local festivals, and so right now we still to this date cannot find it. So we are assuming that he took it with him because it cannot be found.
Now, how often does law enforcement update you guys?
Very regularly.
I heard that you watched the video of supposedly Sebastian taking the garbage out. Did you see that video?
I did.
And was it Sebastian?
It was too dark to tell.
Okay. Because do you know what time of the night it was for that?
No, because I didn't see a timestamp on it.
Okay. Right, because 6:30 apparently. I think there was a waitress that said like that they had left at about 6:30 from the restaurant, and Katie had said that he took out the garbage, but there was no kind of clear time. Did you see movement of a person though?
Yeah, that's about it.
It says, have you seen the clothes that you saw your son wearing on the Texas Roadhouse video?
No, I'm back in that house since the little escapade with my sister setting up a GoFundMe.
So I mean, is it really that profitable?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Can
it
be.
is.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people on here who have very big hearts.
That's the thing. They have a lot of big hearts. This in our community, we have a lot of people that really give a fuck.
Yep.
Like they really
Yep.
do. There's, like I said, there's a lot of people here that support you and Katie. Like there's a lot of people here that really support you and Katie.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it. We're not money people. We don't
No,
do
I'm
that
just
kind
saying,
of
like
stuff.
support you in general. You know what I mean? Like this, we have a very good community, and if you were to say, "Hey, we need this," or something happened, they are very quick to want to help. Very quick to want to help.
Any of us have had a problem, everybody's come together for one another to help. We've
Damn.
built our own little village.
That's amazing. Like I've never thought this existed or anything like that existed in general.
Right now,
There's a lot of psychos on here, but there's also a lot of very good people. Oh, I'm sorry, Katie. I apologize.
No, you're fine. I just said right now I'm hoping it's gonna work on finding Bubba.
Me too.
For the record, I'm the only one that really calls him Bubba.
I think that's cute.
Well, first I went onto Facebook, and at that time, there really wasn't a whole lot, but there was some. So then I started Googling it and I started looking, it kept sending me to YouTube. Every channel, because I subscribed to all of them. And I was listening to every one of them and I was like, what is this mess? You know, what? And then I just turned them all off and I found the interviews. And I started with the first one. I watched the Duchess one. That's the first one I watched.
Tell me what happened the day that Sebastian went missing. I know that his mom said that he was having a good day. He had had a great weekend. So do you want to walk us through what that looks like again for everybody?
He did have a really good weekend, actually. When we come home from having supper that evening, um, he was playing. When he went to bed, when I told him to go to bed, he said, "I love you, Mama," and he said, "I love you, puppies." A little later in the evening, I myself went to bed, and when I went to wake him up for school, he wasn't here.
Chris, you were at work. You were out of town at
Yes,
work, so
ma'am.
you were not even home.
Correct, ma'am.
And Mom, you fell asleep on the couch about 10 o'clock, but you said that Sebastian went to bed at 9 p.m. And then you got up off the couch and you went to bed, and you said that was around midnight.
Midnight.
And nothing was unusual at that point. Everything seemed okay.
There's actually a piece of, so to make something very crystal clear, so that way there's transparency across the board. Me and the mom were on the phone at 9:43 or 9:46 in the evening. We stayed on the phone for quite some time. The call logs have been verified by all the police departments, TBI included. We stayed on the phone. It was very lengthy. Mom did slightly start falling asleep while she was on the couch. I had said, "Hey, you need to wake up, put the dogs up, go to bed." Now, mind you, that was right around midnight, just before midnight or right around midnight.
Mhm.
So then mom does go to bed and wakes up early in the morning to go wake her son up, get him ready for school. And now we have a worried mom who can't find her son in the house. Mom made an effort to look and search several times. Mom has called me at the time and asked me, she was like, "I can't find him." I was like, "Do what?" And she goes, "Yeah, I cannot find him." I said, "Well, hang on." I made the phone call and reported it to the sheriff's department because that's what we're supposed to do. And within 10 minutes, the sheriffs were dispatched to the location.
My thoughts on all of them, and initially my first thought was, why is he talking so much? And a couple of times he blurted like, "No, we would have heard that," or we would have, and I'm like, he said, I thought he wasn't there, and I had to keep rewinding.
Yeah, he locks the door behind himself every time he goes out it. The only people that would have access to my house have all been interviewed.
And not only that, but if somebody had been by the front door, punched in the code, believe it or not, no, it's not super clear, but you would have seen a shadow or a figure based on, something would have been visible because one of the lights is still visible from that Ring camera from across the street.
Okay. And there was no windows unlocked or anything like that.
Yeah, with the screens intact and things like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nothing exterior of the building of our house has been altered.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why it was like, oh, not only that, but for him to go out the window, so to speak, he would have landed in the flower bed and, barefooted. Yeah, we'd have heard something because he had landed on it and screamed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let me go on to the next one. And now we're going to the green shirt, the rocking back and forth and the no tears.
I just want my baby to be okay. I don't know where he's at. I don't know where he's at.
And I'm like, and also the first change of the chain of events. And I caught that immediately, and I'm like, wait a second.
So kind of just walk us through that night.
We were out and about that day. We were having a really good weekend. We got home. Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom, I love you." Said good night to his puppies. A little bit later, I wound up going to bed, and when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
That's usually around what time? When do you normally wake up? Around 6 o'clock?
6. I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes. About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, "I can't find him." He said, "What do you mean you can't find him?" I said, "He's not in the house."
While we were on the phone, and I was like, "Is he on the other side of the bed?" The normal places he may be in the house, and he wasn't. So I was like, "Okay, well, hold on a minute." And immediately after that, we called the sheriff's department and made the report.
I ran all over the house, outside, inside. I looked in every closet.
Within minutes, they were here. They responded within minutes, and here we go.
So you said you were on the phone with her, so
Yes,
you were not home?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I was at work. I'm a tower crane operator, and I was working in Memphis at the St. Jude project. So it's, I have an earpiece in that talks to my phone. I have another earpiece in that does the radios. So when she was talking to me, I was like, "What?" I was confused. We talked about where he could possibly be, and then we went from there and led to calling the cops, and here we are now.
It was rapid fire. They had cars.
They
They had
lined
cars from here down to the
main
road,
road.
as far as I could tell. Sunday, we were out and about. We had a really good day. We were out doing our thing, running around. We had dinner that evening, and when we came home, we had a pretty good evening together as well. He was playing right up until bedtime, and then some. I let him stay up a little late. And when I told him to go to bed, he's like, "I love you, Mom. I love you, puppies." And he went to bed. And I went to bed around midnight. Everything seemed fine. And when I went to wake him up for school, that's when I couldn't find him. He wasn't in his room, and he wasn't in the house. And that's when I panicked. First thing I did was call my husband, and I said, "He's not here." My husband said, "What do you mean he's not here?" I said, "He's not in the house." And he said, immediately just started, "Did you check here? Did you check there? Did you look here?" And I ran through the house, and at that point I was hysterical, for lack of a word. And we three-wayed the police, and I'm within minutes they were here. I couldn't tell you exactly how long. I know it was fast. And we haven't found him.
When I got the phone call that he was missing, like she said, we asked questions like, "Where's he at? Check this, check that." And then we called the sheriff's department. After we called the sheriff's department, I stayed on the phone pretty much most of the time. And then while I was at work, I asked for a relief, got a relief, got in my truck from Memphis, and made my way to Nashville. The morning that he was missing, yes.
Okay.
Initially, I was like, "Oh, he's goofing around again. Here we go. He's like hiding." And then when we talked about the places to check and he's not there, I was like, "Okay, stop. Instantly. Call the police. Instantly." I'm a black and white kind of guy.
And then I went back to the first, and I'm like, okay, this is a child with a chromosome disorder who's just spent this crazy day, and you go in there to wake him up early, but he's gone to dinner. You're talking about how he doesn't like to be clean. He likes to be clean, or he doesn't clean himself or whatever, and he's a 15-year-old boy. You never mentioned a bath. You never mentioned medication. You just told him to go to bed. So you send him to school dirty, and wait, okay, let's go to the next interview. And then it changed.
Sure. Sebastian comes home, gets off the school bus, comes in the house, does his chores, completes his homework, eats dinner. That time kind of varies. I don't have a set time on that. Bedtime, we normally have it right around 8:30, 9 o'clock. Sebastian gets a shower most of the time before he goes to bed, around 7 o'clock ish.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like I said, he's in the bed by 9 o'clock.
Mixed answer on that. So overall, yes, he does much better when he is on a regular routine. And thank you. So like for getting up at about the same time every day and having the same routine to get up and get ready to get out the door, and nighttime routine, taking medicine, taking shower, getting ready for bed, same thing in the morning, getting up, brush your chair, brush your teeth, put your clothes on, make your bed, um, take your medicine, get your backpack, are you hungry? Do you want to take food for lunch or do you want school lunch? That type of thing. Um, and then, he leaves at the same time every day. But at the same time, it's like after school, once, if we've got to go to the store, it's not a huge problem if it's all of a sudden like, oh no, we need to run to the grocery store, so he's easily able to do that for the most part. So, yes, he's able to just like go run some errands and things like that, but he's also, for the most part, we try to keep him on a regular routine so that he functions better. If you have sporadic bedtimes and everything, then he starts having more, difficulty with being on track and on task and everything, or he doesn't really sleep very well. So
Right.
his sleep routine has never been specific, but it's downtime, it's quiet time, it's you remove the stimulus, screen
Mhm.
time shuts off at the same time every day so that you have that, decompression time. And we have the night lights and the little fidgets for the self-stimming and everything, because that's, you can't make them just do nothing, but
Right.
it's turning off all the screens and okay, we're going to be quiet. I understand you're not necessarily going to sleep, but you're going to lay in the bed and relax.
Well, I had a son that needed medication, and overstimulation during the day and bathing had to be done at night, because in the morning that was an impossibility. And after a weekend, and especially a day like that, that would be a necessity, because 15-year-old boys sweat a lot and they do not smell pretty.
And going
That's
and
not
taking a
enough time to
shower.
have breakfast, take a bath, and
Right. I mean, boys just don't do that. I know.
no, they don't. But I mean, I'm just thinking these things as a mother when my son was 15 who had some issues. And I'm thinking, okay. And in one interview that she had mentioned that when he's not home, the dogs sleep with her. And then that changed completely. And I'm like writing these things down. I'm like, this is not driving. I'm like, no, I'm not going to believe this. I'm not going there. I refuse. But he still kept controlling everything.
Your dogs barked during your first TV interview. Wouldn't they have barked when Sebastian walked out the door?
No, because they know Sebastian. When they barked in the first interview,
Because a stranger was in the
a
house.
stranger was in the house.
They've been sitting right here the entire time.
Yeah.
And you had no argument with Sebastian that night?
No, ma'am.
You stated you put the dogs away into a crate before you went to bed. Is the crate located near the exit, near a door?
No, ma'am.
Would the dogs have barked if there had been an intruder or if Sebastian had left?
The dogs don't typically bark at me and Sebastian because they're used to us. Even if we get up, we come around, they don't typically bark. Strangers, they do tend to bark, at least for a minute or two to get attention. But no, ma'am, they don't typically bark at Sebastian and myself or Christopher.
What kind of dogs are they?
Morkies.
question. Where is their crate located?
In the area near my sunroom.
Over by the
In
kitchen.
your son's. Okay, hold on. Is
No,
it
son,
outside
not
your
son.
son's room?
No, ma'am. Not
Sunroom.
Sebastian's room. Son, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
The sunroom. And that's not near the door?
No, ma'am.
Not near the front door.
It's near my back door, but not any of the other doors.
Yes, from what I've seen the layout of the home, it is near the back door, and they would have heard someone coming in and out that back door, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
No barking. Do you have a chime or anything on your doors that would alert you to the door opening?
No, ma'am.
Miss Grace, could I
Question.
jump in for something?
Yes, please. And I want to follow up with a question regarding Miss Proudfoot's polygraph. But please, Lauren, jump in. Everybody on the panel, now is the time to ask the Proudfoots any question that may shed light on what has happened to Sebastian. We are not in a judging arena. We are in a fact-finding arena. We can then assimilate the facts and make deductions. Please jump in.
And wherever you are. I would say wherever you are across the country, because I know there's people all over the place watching. Just to, like, if you're out and about and you have flyers, just keep asking businesses to spread them. Some chains will spread them to their other stores. I
Just wish I could give you a hug right now.
Oh, you'd have to fight the ankle biters. Well, we got two of them, and one of them was supposed to kind of like be mine, and however, they bunch of traitors. I mean, they. When I'm not home, she just lets them sleep in the bed. I get home, y'all are in the pen. Exactly.
Because I wanted to help. I wanted him found. I wanted him found for my Aunt Suzanne. I wanted him found for Katie. And then so I was digging. I'm like, okay, what can I find out that would help them? So I started with the interviews, like I said. And then the Nancy Grace one, and I'm like, okay, I can't believe this. And my stomach just dropped. I'm like, now I want him found for my Aunt Suzanne and his dad, because this man keeps controlling this whole interview, and it is impossible to keep up with a lie. She's having trouble keeping up with her story, so he's controlling this whole narrative. And then, everything just he would call. I watched one thing where he called, I can't remember what channel it is, and I'm not going to mention any channels, pretending to be Billy Bob Thornton from Sling Blade.
I am back working, and I have work hours. I also have to sleep, and unfortunately, I'm on the opposite schedule of you. So respect that.
I heard y'all giving away them T-shirts. What's that boy's name? Sebastian. Well, how you gonna get one of them shirts out? I mean, what do you got to do? There's a little boy missing. It's sad story. It's sad them kids go missing. The worst part is, I heard that story where people talking about the parents and stuff. It's real bad. I don't know. They got no evidence on that boy yet.
No, they don't have any evidence on him yet.
Well, unfortunately, this actually may or may not. I don't know yet. May be the last interview I probably can go do. I don't know yet. I'm not gonna say no, but I will probably go dark for a while just because I got some more personal business coming up that.
We've talked a whole damn lot, but we hadn't really talked much about Sebastian, and I think that would be something good to, talk more about him. I mean, what? Yeah.
And like, what kind of person who's looking for their stepson does that? And then calling, and I heard him on one channel where he said something about, screaming about the PI and threatening Seth's life over something that the PI did not release. It was another channel that released it about Katie's childhood, which I felt was not right. Nobody had any business releasing that. That was her personal childhood, and that just wasn't right. That wasn't nice. It wasn't cool. Details should not be released. That was not right.
Right.
To hold up pictures and no, that was so wrong. And I don't care who you are. That's wrong. You know, to dig that up and show it right on the screen, that's below low.
Hell, he watches Wheel of Fortune with me. He don't never guess the puzzles. But trying to remember the name of the other one that he likes watching. It's the one with the whammies.
Press your luck.
Press your
Yeah,
luck.
break the
Press
luck.
your
Yeah.
luck. He likes
Yeah.
that one too.
Big bucks, big bucks, big bucks, no whammy.
That used to be one of my favorites.
He sits in here, no whammies.
On the 25th, eats breakfast. They get a call from, I guess, maybe the aunt. They go pick up his cousin, they say.
Well, it depends because if it depends on depending on who you listen to, you know, either Katie went to pick them up or Melissa went to pick them up. So I don't. I mean, no, I don't know.
Well,
Sunday, the day before he went missing, we got up and, fun fact, I made breakfast that morning. We had a good time. We were laughing, we were joking. He talked to family on the phone during breakfast to brag. We went and picked up our niece. Yeah, I got a call and asked if I could go and pick her up, and I did. And so we went and did that. We went to BJ's. Had a good time there. He ate a colossal popcorn. Came home to put groceries away because we bought snacks because, you know, he's 15 and snacks. We went to the bowling alley, and then from there we went to dinner. Came home. He took out the trash because that's his chore. He takes the can to the end of the driveway. About 9 o'clock, told him to go to bed. And he's come out of his room where he was playing, and he said, "All right, good night, Mama. Good night, puppies. Love you." And went to bed. He was doing something in his room because about an hour later I heard some noise, and I was like, "I don't care what you're doing in there, but go to sleep." And about midnight I got up and I went to bed. And 6 o'clock I went to wake him up for school Monday morning, and that's when he went in here. To censor myself, holy freaking crap, this can't be happening, where is my kid? Choice words were used. Like, you know, where the F is he, you know. I had looked through the house for him because it was typical for him to get up and come and rummage for snacks and things like that. And he likes to dip behind the, you know, walls and watch, you know. And then he comes out after I come back and he likes to scare me. But after I looked, and I mean, mind you, all of this took place in like 1 minute flat. But I didn't see him in his room. I looked all over. I ran through the whole house. I looked out all the doors and windows, and I was like hollering his name. And I picked up the phone and I called my husband, and I said, "I can't find him." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "He's not in this effing house. I can't find our son." And I jumped in my car and I drove around the neighborhood, and I drove over by the school, and he's already like, at this point I was like hysterical, and I was crying, I was screaming, and he like three-wayed law enforcement and was telling them like, our son is missing and we don't know what's going on. And he was like, "Go back to the house, they're on their way." And I drove back to the house, and 20 days later we haven't found him.
Yeah. Sunday morning, I'll just start at the morning. Sunday morning we got up and I made a fun breakfast for us. Spaghetti pancakes. Google it, y'all. Um, we FaceTime family while we were eating so he could brag because that's something he likes to do. And we were laughing and joking on FaceTime and having a good time with that. After breakfast, we got a call to go pick up um, our niece and go take her to meet up. So we did that. We went and picked her up, and we met her mom at BJ's, and we were there with family members. We come home and put our groceries away, and then a little bit later we went to the bowling alley, a local bowling alley here, and we played games. And then and this is just Bubba and I, and we went to dinner, just the two of us, and then come home. Um, he took the trash out because that's his chore, and he come in and he was playing in his room until bedtime. And at bedtime, I told him, I said, "Hey, Bubba, it's time to go to bed." And he goes, "Okay, good night, Mama, I love you." And then he said goodnight to his puppies, and he went to bed.
Okay, and walk me through what happened. You said that you were on a phone call, you were on the couch, and then you went to bed at midnight. Walk me through exactly what transpired during that time before you went to bed at midnight for you.
So, well, my husband, he works out of town a lot, so we normally sit and talk every evening, and I normally fall asleep on him. And he'll tell me, "Wake up, you gotta go to bed." And and that was right around midnight. So I got up and I put the puppies up and I went to bed myself at midnight. And I went to sleep, obviously. And then at 6 a.m., I went to wake him up for school, and that's when I couldn't find him. And sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Take your time. Take your time. Tell me, did Sebastian take any type of medication before he went to bed, or that would make him sleepy, or if he did take medication, it was just in the morning, or did he take medication at night before he went to bed?
He did take medication nightly and daily.
Okay.
For HIPAA reasons, we will not disclose
I
what the
understand.
medication is.
He went out the window versus he went out the door. How did the door get locked? That you found the door locked? Can you walk me through exactly what that looks like and what you found? Was the door locked? What do you think may have occurred for him walking off versus
Well, I'll tell you this.
with someone? Okay.
We didn't find any signs of the windows, but and without disclosing the details of my door locks, I will say that Sebastian regularly and consistently went out and locked the door behind himself.
Okay.
I was going to say, so
Nobody has stories straight. So it's like, if your stories aren't matching and your stories aren't straight, then at least one of you are lying.
Thinking back on it, is there anything you can think of that seemed off or out of the ordinary prior to him going missing that during the night before you noticed he was missing?
I honestly didn't notice anything that was like, oh my God, that's weird, I mean, we had a really good day, he wasn't in trouble at all. We went to bed on a good note. And I don't know if maybe he just wasn't saying something. but nothing. And I've gone over this so many times. I'm ill, but I didn't see or notice anything that was like red flag, you know?
Okay.
He didn't have any meltdowns or anything like that seemed off.
No, he was actually really well behaved that day. He was even keel for the most part all day.
Well, I'll
Because
give
I
you.
was
Yeah, okay.
hysterical and screaming and crying and frantic.
I'll
Because
give
I
you.
was
Yeah, okay.
hysterical and screaming and crying and frantic. And so he told me to mute my phone, and he's the one that actually called because at that point I couldn't even make words anymore.
So your car's in the same place. You get in the car, you start looking in the neighborhood for him. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you call Mr. Proudfoot, right?
I believe I was already on the phone with him at that point.
Okay. Many people have asked me, why did Miss Proudfoot not call 911 immediately? And here's your chance to answer that.
Because by the time I realized my son was missing and I called my husband at that point, I was hysterical. I was at the point where I couldn't even form words anymore, and my husband is the one who remained calm enough to call them.
Who called 911?
I did.
You did.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
time?
Without looking at a call log, I can't give you the exact time, but on or about 6:20.
And had you guys been talking on the phone before 6 a.m. or did you initially call Mr. Proudfoot at the time you realized Sebastian was gone?
I called him when I realized Sebastian was gone.
Other than you, Miss Proudfoot, who is the last person that saw or heard Sebastian alive the Sunday before he went missing?
Two of his aunts, a cousin, and the staff where we had dinner. So BJ's, and then we went to the bowling alley, and then after the bowling alley, we went to dinner before coming home.
There's several that are saying they admire your strength, Katie.
I don't feel very strong, but thank you. I'm struggling. Truth be told, I'm struggling. At the end of the day, I just want to find my baby.
Right.
I know he'd get mad at me. I'm my baby. Well, you're always my baby, so
They're always your baby.
get over it and come home.
I have a 31-year-old and
It's his latest thing when I say something that he doesn't like. He goes, "Mom,"
Oh my goodness.
or when he's really annoyed, he goes, "Mom." I can't imitate his voice because it's deeper than mine now, but that's how he does it, and I'm just like, "What?" And then I usually try to smother him in kisses while he squirrels to get away, and he's like, "Get off me."
Question to you guys. When police came in and processed your home, did they look with, for instance, luminol? Did they check? What did they do when they searched your home?
They thoroughly searched my home with many different things. They removed some things for the dogs to hold the scent, and for Sebastian's DNA. I know that they used thermal
Night imagery.
night vision, thank you. And I don't know exactly all of the tools that they used, but I do know that multiple different searches were done on my home by many different people, detectives, sheriffs, and a few others.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I wouldn't swear that the forensics folks showed up or not because there were so many folks in and out of the house that it was just, "Hi, I'm so and so with law enforcement. I'm so and so with law enforcement." Okay.
every time they've said we need to look, or please do.
Does Sebastian have a hardwood floor or a carpeted floor?
In his bedroom,
Carpet.
Yes. Carpeting.
Carpet.
Did they remove any carpeting?
No, ma'am.
Do you feel confident they searched his bathroom?
They did.
Yes, ma'am, they did.
When you state that they removed items for the scent dogs, what did they take?
Clothing, a blanket that he used like every day, and a few other items of his, toiletries, like his brush.
Make no mistake, Sebastian Rogers missing is not yet a cold case. The TBI, along with the FBI and the Sumner County Sheriff, tell me that it remains an active case. But authorities also say they are no closer to solving the mystery of what happened to Sebastian. In recent weeks, the most recent tip that turned out to be nothing was this photograph taken at a visitor center in North Carolina. That lookalike teen was identified and confirmed not to be Sebastian. Since then, things have been quiet.
We're doing everything we can do. Every time a tip comes in, we follow up on it.
Eric Craddock is chief deputy with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and heads up the investigation. 100 days since Sebastian disappeared is a milestone, but Craddock says no one is giving up. Unfortunately, the number of tips or potential sightings reported have gone down in recent weeks. There are no more random search efforts by authorities, but based on the investigation and search efforts to date, they do have a body of work to review.
I think in the absence of information, what we'll continue to do is go back over everything we've already done once, put a fresh set of eyes on it.
Maybe someone with a fresh outlook will notice something in the search area that others have missed. In the meantime, Craddock says they keep in touch with Sebastian's parents, who continue to cooperate, having talked to them just this past week. Everyone is frustrated over the lack of new leads, which unfortunately still result in crazy conspiracy theories.
Oh, the rumor mill on social media has done nothing to advance this case.
When something significant does happen, we will hear about it first from authorities, not from armchair detectives on social media. For now, investigators say all options remain on the table, including the possibility still of foul play.
I could tell you things that he told to me. Like on the first day, he looked at me and, he hadn't even been back for like 2 hours or 3 hours. And he looked at me, what are you going to do if this goes south? And I looked at him, I said, what are you talking about if I go south? What are you going to do if he's dead? And I'm going to walk out of this house because if I do anything else, they'll put me in handcuffs right now.
Yeah.
How dare you even think that my son is dead? If there was a thud in my house, we'll go check it out.
You would think. She said she was right in the living room.
But see, her whole description of that is the whole reason why if you're a true parent, you're going to go check on your kid.
He does have a lot of personality. I mean, he's got that teenage attitude going on where he's all over the place. So one minute he's angry, and next minute he's laughing and joking, and the next minute he's like, "I'm going to my room."
Aww.
What are you doing? Nothing. I don't want to know.
Such a sweet
But
baby,
he's still young at heart too, like mentally he's young. He still likes to play with his Legos, and he likes.
Hey, I'll play with Legos. Watch out.
Yeah.
To take it, I took the. Actually, did you take the one with Nancy Grace yet?
No, it's Wednesday.
Go ahead.
I haven't TBI that I can't take it yet.
Say that one more time.
Said I haven't heard from TBI.
Oh. Okay, I got it. Or perhaps you guys going to tell you that you can't go on the Nancy Grace show as well.
I don't know. Maybe they'll tell me it violates HIPAA.
Let me know.
Do you think Chris and Katie know more about what happened with Sebastian going missing than they've told people?
I don't know. But when a person's not forthcoming with information, or whenever they tell the story, things change.
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself why.
I'm so sorry that it took a podcast for Chris to basically open up and then try to put his tail between his legs on Nancy Grace.
It wouldn't even be open up because the way he spoke, he gloated about it.
Did it ever cross your mind that that Katie might have been involved?
Absolutely.
And I wanted you to speak to that.
No, and that's fine. Absolutely not. I would not. There's nothing in me, nothing I would ever think that the mother had anything to do with this, or the father for that matter. None of his parents, any of us would have ever done anything to Sebastian to do this, remotely conjure up. No way. No. This boy has got so much love. That right there kind of hurts me a little bit to think that somebody would think that I would suspect my wife of having ill intent, and that's no.
Said, why not ask Katie if she suspected Chris? It's her bio son. And I think they just clarified that all of the parents agree. And of course, we do have Seth in chat. And you did say, Chris, all three of you agree that none of the parents are involved in the disappearance of Sebastian. Seth, if you want to comment in the chat, you certainly are free to speak and say whatever you feel. Katie, obviously you said you weren't even in town, but Katie, did you have anything that you suspected when this happened? Did you immediately say, well, I think so-and-so might have something to do with it?
Honestly, no. My husband was out of town and had been for a while, and even if he wasn't, I don't think for a second he would ever hurt him. And if his dad wanted him, he wouldn't have to take him. He'd just call and say, hey, I want to pick my son up. And I'd say, okay, what time? And, the only stipulation is that we don't miss school. So, I wouldn't have thought anything about that either because we have, our own differences, but that doesn't matter. When it comes to Sebastian, we're pretty good about, hey, I want to have him this weekend or I've got this thing going on. And like we juggle and change weekends sometimes if we've got something that we want to do or vice versa. So no.
Kinky Ad said, how did Katie not notice him in the kitchen when she didn't find him in bed and then said she thought maybe he was making breakfast, that your room is by the kitchen?
Yes. But he liked to dip around walls and he did his little sneaky thing.
I understand.
About Katie taking the decal off of the side of her car for Sebastian. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see her do it, but it doesn't surprise me.
I'll show you. I've made a video, just quickly putting them side by side. Let me just take this down. So see her car there on the left has the decal, but now, and this was just taken like today or yesterday.
And that's decal for Canadians.
Oh, decal. Right?
Sorry, Sonny.
No. Canadian, eh? Okay. So, so my thing is this. Okay. So we were talking about this a little earlier. So my thing is this, is that
the only one.
Like, pardon?
She's not the only one. Chris's mother is taking them all off of her vehicle too.
Isn't that like what the F, right? Like, is this about Sebastian or them?
They don't care.
Honestly, like this. So we were talking about this earlier when I played this, because this first thing I noticed when I seen JLR put up this video of the one without, I was like, well, where's the decal? Okay. And then all of a sudden, so I went to go find the other one because I knew that it was on there, but I wanted to show it visually to people. And to me, I'm like, the reason why they would take it off is because they don't want anyone to know. To me, that's making it about themselves. as always. That's what it seems to be. Like, this is about your child. So you're going to care more about the fact that you don't want people to know that that's you there? Or
Right.
is this about Sebastian being missing and your child? So why would anyone give a shit unless they're egos? Because this is your son that you're looking for, right? Remember, Katie? You said, well, Sebastian just could be anywhere. That's why I'm up here with Chris 3 hours away and I've left home. Bullshit. It keeps being about them, not Sebastian. And it's pissing me off. Is it pissing you?
Completely.
Looks like this is our.
Okay, yes. Bravo, thank you so much for coming. I called you to report a crime that I don't have nothing to do with, okay?
Oh, this is a first.
I'm not involved in the crime. I didn't perpetrate the crime. I didn't do anything. Hypothetically, if I had,
Let's get
if
to
I
that.
had done it.
Oh,
hypothetically? Just hypothetically
if
speaking.
you
Let's say I
had
did.
done it, get your ass in the car. Hypothetically speaking, you're about to get your salad tossed in prison.
So, I mean, the $1 million question, why did he go? And the other $1 million question is how.
I'm your defense attorney, okay? Is to get you
good.
acquitted
Yes.
of all charges.
All charges.
Well,
That's that's the $1 million question.
I mean, what you want to just say to that question is no, I did not.
Okay, guys, so in this episode, we get a chance to hear from someone on Katie's mom's side of the family. It turns out that Yada is Katie's second cousin, meaning it's her mother's first cousin. Yada has a lot to say about her family. She kind of runs down how many members are on the Rosenbaum side of the family. She does speak a lot about Katie's grandparents and the dynamic and how Katie was raised when she came to live with that side of the family. And then later she speaks about how she went to go live with her dad and sometimes her Aunt Penny. Now, a lot of this doesn't really have a whole lot to do with Sebastian, but I did find it very interesting that Yada made it clear that Katie was a very coddled person, even that she is very spoiled. And I did get that sense of entitlement from Katie. I just didn't know if it came about when she started seeing Chris, since he does have money. So she would be accustomed to a certain type of lifestyle. Now, Yada does make it very clear that she is upset about the way that Seth is being portrayed through social media and through the channels that Chris and Katie are going on. And we do see this over and over again, where there has been so many things that have come out about Seth, and that he is dirty words, like he likes little kids, things like that, which is not true in my opinion. I believe Yada when she says that Seth went and asked for Katie's hand. I also believe Yada when she talks about the relationship between Grandpa Don and Suzanne. I think that Yada decided to speak out because she has a very strong feeling that something is not right. And many times people will get a notebook out when they're trying to track down what a narcissist is saying, their lies. And it is a very common trauma that people who encounter narcissists have. They feel the need to make sure that they can stay sane in their own head, because the narcissist is always gaslighting. They're always lying and then backtracking. And so it's very hard to track. And then when you don't believe them, they rage out on you. And so it makes it extremely difficult, because you may want to confront these narcissists with their lies, but you can't, because it's just going to fuel a fire. And we've seen this with Chris many times. We saw it play out when the caller simply asks, "What about Sebastian? Where is Sebastian?" And they hang up, and then the caller is blamed, and Chris projects his own insecurities and his own actions onto the caller as if the actions belong to the caller, when in reality it was he and the whole entire panel who did not want to discuss that topic. And instead of him stopping while he's ahead. He feels the need to project his anger and his disdain for the question, and he circles all the way back around and makes himself look completely silly. And he catches himself up every single time. We have seen this play out so many, many times with Chris Proudfoot, and we also see it played out here with his mother. This is from Jessica Bright, and she's asking, Kathy Guy Bowersocks, since you're on here, maybe you could help clear up some speculation, if you don't mind. Could you please answer these few questions? 1. Can you tell us if you were at Worsham's the morning Sebastian was reported missing? 2. What time did you arrive at Katie's house the morning Sebastian was reported missing? And 3, finally, the Alaska question. Why did you guys drive all the way, then take a private jet at the border? Why not just fly the whole way on a commercial airline? Thank you. Praying for Sebastian. Be found soon. And the response that she gets back is no to question number 1. So, no, she was not at Worsham's the morning Sebastian was reported missing. Number 2, she got there after 10:30 a.m., which we know is a lie because Seth said that she arrived there before he did. And 3, she says that the Alaska question didn't happen. Whoever concocted this scenario is completely evil and delusional. They are the same people who create this crap for clicks and subscription payments. All prayers for Sebastian's whereabouts are greatly appreciated and joined by ours daily. But then we have Melissa Nicole Proudfoot's statement that says, hey everyone, this is my nephew. He is high functioning verbal autistic. He walked out of the house in the middle of the night with his glasses and a small flashlight and no shoes. We have been searching since 6:30 a.m. They are searching the 10 miles around his house, but I'm worried that he may have got in the back seat of a car, fell asleep, and woke up after someone got to their job and got out of the car. It's possible. I'm trying to think outside of the box to help find him. Ugh, it's just so hard. You never know how kids think. Please keep a lookout. Thanks. So again, just so many lies and inconsistencies and hostility if the lies and inconsistencies are questioned and not believed. We also see this when we're looking at Sheriff Craddock. He gets very antsy. He almost has a very intense energy about him, and you can tell that he's always trying to rein it in because the proof is all over his face. His facial expressions say it all. While Eric Craddock likes to deny, I've also included a post from the United Cajun Navy talking about people deliberately impeding the investigation. And I will let you go ahead and just pause to read that because I want to read something else to you, which is a newer development in the case, and that is from SF Investigates. So Steve Fisher is a private investigator, and he's been said to be working with the Proudfeet. But again, we hear the denial. Until Steve Fisher posts a picture, and in the picture, it's Cletus, Clue, Chris, and Katie, and then himself, Steve Fisher. And his post reads, and this is a Twitter post, completed another day of searching and mapping areas of interest in the Sebastian Rogers case. I want to thank Stephen, Cletus, Clue, Crimson, Chris, and Katie for all of their help over the past week. I will be leaving in the next 2 hours to assist with a search for missing flood victims in eastern Tennessee, but I will return to Hendersonville within the next 2 weeks. Sebastian, despite those who are making a mockery of your case and trying to capitalize on your situation, we vow to continue searching for you and seeking answers. Now, I need to go and buy supplies to get by the next few days in eastern Tennessee while searching for victims of floods, and I have been in contact with authorities and searchers, and the situation is dire. All your support is needed to form positive thoughts. And that was Steve Fisher's statement. Now, in the picture, you can see that they are all very happy and having a good old time. While Sebastian's missing, they're flying a drone, but it doesn't look like they are ready to go into the woods or anything like that, which is maybe where he could be. So I don't know. It just looks really false and phony to me, but that's just par for the course with Katie and Chris. Now, when it comes to the question that I asked you guys in the beginning of the video and the question that I pondered myself and I told you I'd give you my take on it, is Eric Craddock out there? Is the TBI, are they polishing the turds, Katie and Chris Proudfoot? Because the saga continues and it looks to me like it's just a tale of two turds where we have people that are in positions of power who are willing to lie for and make these people look better than they are. Anybody that's on their side is making them look as good as possible, even when that's not really who they are. People who are willing to exaggerate the level of concern that the Proud Feet have and who are willing to post pictures almost mocking the public, like, look, we're searching, ha ha ha. It's absolutely sick, in my opinion. I also want to talk about the FBI coming out and making a statement at the 6-month mark for Sebastian being missing. I think that it was a very short statement, and I posted it here. I also think it was extremely rude that they did not tell Seth beforehand when he called up there. That is another reason that I believe that there is a biased opinion towards Chris and Katie Proudfoot versus Seth, when they won't tell Seth anything, but they give Chris and Katie regular updates. And all the while, Chris Proudfoot has dodged the question about polygraphs. Seth just went ahead and took his polygraph. It did take him a second try because the first time he fell asleep, but at least he took his polygraph. And Seth has been known to lose sleep over Sebastian, unlike Katie and Chris. Seth has been out there searching. Then he also produces receipts from his job, and they're still not good enough for some people. And so it just, to me, seems it's very unfair and biased when it comes to giving Seth updates and information from law enforcement. And that may be because he has been so vocal, but the reason he's being so vocal is because he feels like he has distrust with the police. And in my opinion, he has every right to feel that way. Today is October 6th, 2024, and Sebastian Rogers has been missing for over 7 months today. The last we heard from the TBI and the FBI and Sumner County or Eric Craddock, without showing their faces, was the tweet about his 6-month anniversary of him being missing. And to me, that doesn't take a whole lot of effort. I can do that if I'm on the pot or if I'm laying in bed. So they really should have shown their faces at the 6-month mark. But instead, we have rejuvenated the case, in my opinion. So I hope that this momentum does not stop, and I hope we keep moving forward with it. But the fact still remains that we don't have any evidence that has been released. We have not seen any video of Sebastian, and we have not heard anything about any type of evidence, leads, theories from law enforcement to this day. And to me, that is not helpful in solving a case. It seems to me that Eric Craddock did not want any help, not even from the United Cajun Navy. He seemed very annoyed to me when he was asked at the press conference on April 2nd about the United Cajun Navy, and he also said that they were independent and that he didn't have any communications with them, and he didn't mention that they had communications with the TBI. But then the spokesperson for the United Cajun Navy turns around and tells Nancy Grace that he is in contact with law enforcement and that he is, on their side. So, I mean, I don't understand why there are so many lies and so many inconsistencies coming straight from law enforcement. Okay, guys, so that's all I have for you today. I know it's a lot to think about and unpack, and I really can't wait to engage in the comments below. I know right now there are a lot of people out there who are suffering due to the storms and the flooding. There's some more hurricanes coming through Florida, and luckily I have not moved down there yet, but that's the destination that I'm going to be moving to. So I'm very much up in the air with things, and I just can't imagine how other people must be feeling right now who don't have the supplies, who don't have a way to get away from the flooding, and then also for anybody who has lost a loved one or has lost their life due to the storms. And that goes for all the fur babies too. And so all I can say is stay safe out there, everybody, and take care of each other. Thank you all so very much. I will see you next time. Sebastian, we're all looking for you, buddy. You will be found.